Morning Pillaging Show. Chris4Raiders, over. Raider Nation, Jason, over. Pillaging just for Sundays, over. Me and Chris, we don't miss. Me and Chris don't miss. Me and Chris don't miss. When it comes to this Raider classic out, we don't miss. Raider Nation, we don't miss.
Good Sunday morning, Raider Nation. This is the Sunday Morning Pillaging Show with your host, Chris4Raiders. And you see on the other side, we have special guests. Now, today, unfortunately, we won't be able to see Raider Nate Jason because, as I mentioned last week, he's expecting, and he went to the hospital this morning with his wife. So we wish him luck. We hope everything works out for him. And we expect another Raider to their family. So, without further ado, here's 805 Raider. Hey, brother, how you doing?
Go, man. I appreciate you letting me pop in. I kind of first want to say I apologize for last weekend. I was supposed to link up with you guys last weekend and woke up and the wife was a little under the weather. So whenever that happens, I got to hold it down with the young ones, with the kids. And so, but man, I knew I had to jump on with you guys and just kind of, chop it up, have a good Sunday, start out the Sunday right with you guys and have some fun. But man, I hope everything goes well with Jason. And man, it's exciting. It's exciting for him, and I can't wait to just see another Raider fan enter this world.
There you go. Well, it's always family first, man. You got to take care of the family first. So, I understand that. So how you feeling about? We got pretty much exactly 7 days till we're playing our first game. What do you think?
I'm excited. I'm excited for just the season to kick off because I'll tell you right now, it's no matter if you like, a fan of Pete Carroll or what he's done or what have you. At the end of the day, this is probably without question the best head coach we've had in a really long time. No matter his age or whatever it may be. And again, no matter if you question the offseason moves or what have you. He's probably the best head coach we've had in a very long time. And so I'm excited to kick this season off and just kind of see what he brings to the nation. What does he bring to the Raider Nation? And just kind of how is he going to set this ship right,
Yeah, that's the way I feel. Because, before the season started, me and this old guy, Jeff here, we was talking about they're going to bring AP back. They fired him. Then we were trying to figure out what coach we want. Ben Johnson. Well, he's a first-year coach like AP is. But then Pete Carroll came and made. I said that probably worked because he's experienced. He's a winning quarterback coach. He changed programs around where they became like mediocre to winning close to winning championship. That's fact. He won championships in the NFL and NCAA. There's only 4 coaches that did that. So for him coming to turn around, and I don't expect him to turn around the first year, but I expect within year 2. I expect us to be winning a lot more games, going to the playoffs, possibly close to Super Bowl. What do you think about that?
What's really tough about kind of assessing how I want this to go is, for myself, I don't look at this as a normal situation, right? We signed him on to a 3-year contract with a 4th-year option, but he is going to be 74 years old when kickoff happens. I don't know when his birthday is, but he's going to be 74 years old. He's the oldest head coach in NFL history. And I think what's difficult is we all know how age can kind of creep up quickly. If you've ever had, older parents, if you've had grandparents, like age can creep up quickly. And, would I bet my next salary that he's going to, fulfill that 3rd year and then potentially that 4th-year option? Man, I wouldn't, because you just never know. And so my thing is, if for some reason he just isn't, ready to rock and 100% like he looks like he is today in that year 3, we're gonna be back in this head coaching rotation potentially in the next 3, possibly 4 years. And so I'm like, man, it's a lot of pressure. It's a massive expectation, but I want to see a wild card berth this year. I want to see him pull it. Because if you kind of skip that first stepping stone because of his age. I want to see wild card berth this year, knowing that if we lose that, then next year, boy, maybe we go deeper in the playoffs, and maybe that third year is our time that we can actually make that Super Bowl, or even make that Super Bowl next year. Because look, here's the thing: we have gone bargain shopping at every single position, which means, like, if we don't bring on Jacoby Myers, if we don't re-sign him, and we save that salary cap, I gotta believe, and again, I don't know if it's right, I gotta believe that they are going to make a massive splash next year. They have to. That's the only reason why you save up salary cap. Now we have a lot of players on one-year contracts that that are on budget deals, and so we have to bring those guys back as well. There's gonna be a lot of players next year that we have to prioritize, and whether or not we want to bring them back. But I want to see a wild card berth again. We didn't really make up the roster that way, but we had enough salary cap and we had enough draft picks to make a push. So I want to see wild card berth. That's what I want to see this year. I would love to see us make that move, because then that means that, man, we are making a massive playoff push next year. So again, that's a big ask based on the way that our team is made up right now. But look, we got Geno Smith. Geno Smith is good enough to get us to the playoffs if you put the pieces around him. So that's what I'm expecting. That's what I want to see this year. But it's a big ask.
Okay, before we get into it deeply, let me go ahead and shout out to the people that joined us in the chat. Jason Downs is here. What's up, Jason? Oh my God, I guess you're talking about what I just said earlier. And this old guy here, Jesse, I don't know why he's here. Sam Tucker, salute. Let's see who else in there. Hey, we got Yvette Niles here. Hey, what's going on, Yvette? Anybody else come in? Not yet. She said, hey, 401 Raider. I don't know who it is. And of course, we got your boy Leo in here.
What up, Leo?
Hey, Leo. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you on the age thing, because I know I'm up there in age too. I'm not a young spring chicken. And I know how one day you feel healthy, the next day you lay in the hospital bed like, what happened? I can understand that. I lost my parents that way, because I looked at them a couple months ago. They were fine, and all of a sudden they're in the hospital, just like that. So I understand how you feel about that. But I think there's a coach I think they have a head coach on this team already that Pete Carroll's grooming. I don't think it's Chip Kelly. I think it's probably Patrick Graham. That's my opinion. That they're grooming to be their head coach, because Pete Carroll did ask him, because he, when they had AP still on the roster or whatever, they asked Patrick Graham, you gonna sign an extension? He said no. Then when Pete Carroll got the head job, Pete Carroll talked to him and he signed an extension like a couple of days later. So I'm thinking he probably trying to groom Patrick Graham to be that next head coach. Well, so I don't know. Because if they go outside looking in, like you say, bargain shop, we could be right back in that same boat we've been the past 5-6 years.
I guess for myself is, sometimes you just kind of got to follow the money, and that's kind of what I look at sometimes. And when you bring in Chip Kelly as the highest paid offensive coordinator in the National Football League, it's not like he was at a college program that was either struggling or he kind of revived it, right? He came off of winning a national championship as an offensive coordinator. I think one of the ways, and we were not in a great situation, right? We had Aiden O'Connell at the time. We didn't have Geno Smith when we brought him in just yet. And so to me, I feel like the way that you entice Chip Kelly to come over and be the offensive coordinator for the Raiders, which again, we weren't in a great situation. Like our offensive line was struggling, no running game, didn't have Geno Smith. It was just Aiden O'Connell. We weren't in the best position to get a quarterback in the draft. And so what kind of enticed Chip Kelly to kind of come this way? Obviously, one, money. He's the highest paid offensive coordinator. But two, is it that opportunity to potentially be the head coach when Pete Carroll moves on or steps down? And to me, I feel like because Chip Kelly was a head coach in the National Football League before, I think that's one way to kind of entice him to come and be the offensive coordinator over here. There was a lot of other teams looking for offensive coordinators. I mean, I think there was 7 head coaching vacancies. I know a lot of former offensive coordinators took those jobs, but to me, I just feel like, and again, you might be 100% right. This is just me speculating, but I feel like Chip Kelly, one of the reasons why he would take a job that's not very desirable is one, money, but two, the opportunity to be a head coach again in the National Football League. And if you look at the way that a lot of these good organizations are starting to kind of sculpt their coaching staff, is you basically bring in an offensive coordinator that turns into a head coach, right? The Andy Reids, the Sean McVays, the Matt LaFleurs. You bring in an offensive-minded head coach that can run the offense, and you potentially can match that offensive coordinator up with, or that head coach / offensive coordinator up with their young quarterback. And then you have, and if it all works out, you have that opportunity to kind of create that dynasty that the Chiefs have, right? Where you got Andy Reid as offensive coordinator, matched him up with Pat Mahomes, and now you got yourself an offensive powerhouse for, from when it started for the next 12 years. So right. It's like, I think that's maybe the route they're going. But the hard part is Patrick Graham, he's been a part of all these other regimes, right? He was part of McDaniels. He was part of Antonio Pierce. And I think the hard part is that you bring in Pete to change the culture. And does Patrick Graham help mirror that culture and continue that movement? I don't know. I just don't see Patrick Graham as head coaching material. I think he's a good defensive coordinator. I just don't see him as head coaching material. But again, that's just my opinion.
No, I understand that too as well, because he is highest paid. But you got to look at it this way. If the team is, I'm going to say dysfunctional, if you want to call it that, in the past 3-4 years, when they're not winning games, they look pretty bad. You don't want to come in and try to coach them up and you hope to be an NFL coach, because that goes on your resume. Other teams say, I'm going to be a head coach. Well, you didn't do nothing with the Raiders. You look pretty bad there. Why would we hire you? Mm-hmm. So he saw the opportunity. It was always the money, follow the money. But he saw, the Raiders are starting. He saw Pete Carroll there. He saw what he's going to do. And he knows what Pete Carroll can do. So I know he can build a winning program. So I can go there to enhance my resume to become head coach. Because we all know defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, their main dream is to be what?
Head coach.
A head coach. Most of them.
So let me ask you this, because then it's kind of asking this question is, if we end up in the next, let's say 2 years, maybe 3, what happens if we end up having a really good offense? If our offense starts to thrive and we end up having a top 10 offense this year, next year, maybe the year after, maybe we draft a quarterback and, Chip Kelly is now kind of working with a quarterback. In my opinion, I think if you were to move on from Pete Carroll, the one guy you almost have to hold on to is the offensive coordinator that's been able to develop and sustain a top 10 offense. I almost feel like you have to hold on to that, because if you bring in a new head coach, Patrick Graham's gone. Patrick Graham's going to go on and try to find a head coaching job elsewhere, or he most likely will just be a DC somewhere else, because that head coach is going to want to bring on his own regime. Or Chip Kelly retains him, and now he's stuck just being the defensive coordinator here. And now he knows I have no pathway to being a head coach, because Chip Kelly now just took over. So that would be, I think we have to see kind of how it plays out. Right. What happens if Chip Kelly ends up producing a bottom 20 offense the next 3 years? I don't think any of us really think that's going to happen. But if it does, then maybe PG is more in line of potentially getting that head coaching position. But if Chip Kelly does what we think he's going to do and produces a top 10 offense, that would be tough to give it to Patrick Graham, because then Chip Kelly's find a head coaching job somewhere else, because he produced a top 10 offense. It's like a Ben Johnson, right? So I think that's where it is tough. I think that these next couple of years are really going to figure out where the pathway is to the head coaching, because to who's going to be the next head coach. Because Chip Kelly produces, man. I don't know how you walk away and not give him the head coaching job, because you're going to lose him anyway if you give it to somebody else.
Yeah, so Leo's saying, honestly, I think PG's on the bubble. It could be a scapegoat. Defense look bad. Oh, yeah, they always use the coordinators when anything go bad. They the first guys get fired, and the coaching staff is the coordinators. But, yeah, I see your point. That does make a lot more sense. Because what happens when a team, like you said, in their top 10, what do other teams do? Offer more money to come over here and do the same thing you did with that team. So, they, like you said, you got to retain him if he gets a top 10 offense. If he's like bottom 20, teams ain't going to say, yeah, I don't know, pay all that money for you. You didn't do anything over the Raiders. So, yeah, that makes sense. That's why. Go ahead.
And I just hope that Chip Kelly learns from Pete Carroll and his ability to be a player's coach, right? I hope that he can take on what Pete Carroll does best and implement that and absorb that, because obviously we know that Chip Kelly had his issues when he was a head coach with the Eagles and the 49ers. So hopefully he can just understand that. Now, it's hard. I have major skepticism as to whether or not he can take that on, because at the end of the day, when you are, at his age, sometimes you're kind of set in your ways. When you take over, you want to do things that you're going to implement things that you want to do that you felt can work, and hopefully it doesn't, ruin whatever culture Pete Carroll did develop over the next 2-3 years, however long he's with us. So I hope it works out. But yeah, if Chip Kelly does produce a top 10 offense in these next few years, man, it's almost like you got to do what you can to kind of hold on to him.
Yeah, because no excuses. You got the weapons. You got the best. You got the best tight end in the league. You got running back that still have to prove himself. So it's up to him to design these plays.
And imagine if we draft a quarterback next year, the year after. We prioritize the quarterback. You just matched up a quarterback with Chip Kelly. And if that kind of works, or if that quarterback sits for a year to kind of develop, you're developing him for Chip Kelly's offense. That's what you're trying to do. So if we do find ourselves drafting a quarterback in this next year or two, you're setting it up for the future, which looks like that future includes Chip Kelly with that quarterback some way, somehow.
Yeah. So they went in and signed I forgot the guy's name. I'm sorry. It's still Sunday morning. I'm still trying to wake up. That guy from the Browns.
From the Browns?
The quarterback. I'm sorry.
Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett. And I saw people saying, like, why did he give a 5th-round draft pick for a guy named Kenny Pickett? Because he sucked at Pittsburgh. But he also got to remember, he was thrown to the fire right away. I mean, he started the first game of the season. I mean, he won some games, lost some games, had a lot of interceptions, also had a lot of touchdowns. So, what's your opinion about why they signed Kenny Pickett?
I think we were kind of strong-armed into that situation, right? Aiden O'Connell goes down, and so Cam Miller wasn't ready. You're not going to throw him into the fire. Obviously, they let him go, and now he's at the practice squad, or they waived him and was able to bring him back to the practice squad. But I think you're strong-armed into finding that quarterback. He does mirror a little bit of what Geno Smith can do in his mobility. And so, I've said this before, is one of the things that you want with a backup quarterback is a guy that can have similar traits as to what your starter has, because if he does have to go in, you don't have to completely revamp your offensive play calling, right? And that's one of the hardest things to do when you are mid-game and now all of a sudden you got to switch quarterbacks. If your quarterback cannot function in the same offense that you were trying to kind of roll with, mid-game, it's hard to make that transition. And so I think he mirrors a little bit of what he can do, but I still just wasn't a fan of giving up a 5th. We have two fourths. We have a comp 4th because of Travion Merrick, but then we had technically 2 5ths before the Kenny Pickett trade because we got one for Nate Hobbs. And the thing is that I hold draft picks. I want as many draft picks as we can have, because let's just say you want to go after a quarterback next year. Let's say the quarterback of the future balls out this year and you want to go get him. Well, that's draft capital that you could potentially use to move up to go get a guy. That's additional draft capital. And so for a guy that's basically a Band-Aid, a guy that you hope he doesn't set foot on the field because Geno Smith plays all 17 games, and if we make playoffs, he's rolling. There was a guy like Tyler Huntley that you could have potentially went out and got. You didn't have to give up any draft capital. You hold that draft capital in. And I'm not saying he's better than Kenny Pickett, but at the same time, it's a Band-Aid. So
Right.
I would have much rather go after a guy that was available that potentially, because look, if Kenny Pickett goes in, there's a good chance that our season isn't going to turn out very good. Like if Kenny Pickett now, if Geno Smith has a season-ending injury, now Kenny Pickett's our guy, the likelihood that we're going to, because everybody is saying that we're going to lean on our offense this year. The offense is going to be the strong point of this team. And it's because of Geno Smith. It's because of some of the weapons. Based on Kenny Pickett's play in the past, the likelihood that Kenny Pickett is going to now be that quarterback that takes us to the playoffs, I don't know about that.
Yeah, chances are very slim with that. Yeah, I agree.
It's slim. So, my thing is that it's a Band-Aid. It's a one-year rental. I didn't want to give up a 5th round knowing that could be something that you could package up. And if there's a quarterback late in the 1st or even drops to the 2nd for some reason, you want to take a shot and go get him, you might be able to take that 5th, that additional 4th, and move up and go get a quarterback. So I just hold those draft picks like gold, in all honesty. And I hated seeing us give up a 5th, go get a quarterback for a one-year rental. But at the same time, I think we were kind of strong-armed into having to get a quarterback because of the Aiden O'Connell injury.
Okay. Yeah. For those guys who joined us today, was the beginning of the show. If you notice that this is Red Nation Jason and my show, he's not going to be here today. He's at the hospital with his wife. They're expecting a new Raider to the family. So everybody, we send him a wish him luck on IG or whatever platform you have. Wish him luck. So he just went in. He just texted me this morning. So he went in this very morning. So. Got a new Raider coming to the family.
Good luck to him, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I might because we're starting out this Sunday so right. I got my coffee. I'm gonna have another cup. But then if we keep rolling, I might share my first beer of this Sunday with you and for Red Nation Jason as well.
We definitely could do a toast. I don't know if you watched the Friday night show I had. I was happy.
I tapped in that Friday show without question.
Yeah, so wish him luck. Yeah, so okay, let me ask you another question. 2 questions, actually. Well, 2-part question.
Bring it.
Which are you more confident when going into this first game? Are you more confident in the offense, or are you more confident in the defense going into the first week? I know, put a smile on your face.
I think it's tough because, the offense is the hardest part of the side of the football to kind of get rolling and gel, right? I think a lot of people, I know I've heard people say that this offense is going to just, it's going to be the strong point. And I don't disagree with that, but it may not be our strong point until maybe week 4 or 5, right? It's going to take them time to kind of gel and, really bring things together. You look at the timing that Geno Smith, I guess you look at what Geno Smith needs to work on with the offense. Him and Deontay Thornton, they still need to kind of get the thing rolling, right? They still need to kind of get that chemistry down. Yes, they had that touchdown throw, that back shoulder fade, or that back shoulder throw to Deontay Thornton for a touchdown. That was great. But it's also understanding we're going against a lot of second, third, and even 4th stringers at times, right? So it's going to take this offense time to really gel and kind of get their chemistry down. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of hopefully a low-scoring game week 1. But that's why it's hard. As much as I think the offense is going to be maybe our strong point in the season, I think it's going to take 4, maybe 5 games for them to really reach some potential. So I think by default, it's got to be the offense because we're going against we're going against an offense that has some weapons over there, and there's a lot of question marks with our cornerback room. There's question marks on how well as a whole this linebacker core is going to work, and how it's going to be used. So, by default, I think I'm a little more confident in the offense. In the offense. But I know we're going to talk about week 1, but the Patriots are in the same boat as us. They have a brand new offensive coordinator. They got a quarterback that's in his second year that's brand new to Josh McDaniels' offense. They're most likely going to have a young rookie at the running back position, rotating, getting a lot of plays in. They got new pieces to that offensive line, new receiver core. They brought in, I'm blanking on his name, Stephon Diggs. They brought in Stephon Diggs, so him and Drake May got to have some chemistry. So they're going to need some time to gel as well. And so I think this defense might be able to find some success just because it takes time for the offense to get going. So, again, it was a kind of a long-winded answer, but I do think just by default, the offense might have a little bit more chance at success, but not much because I still think it's going to be a low-scoring battle that week 1.
Because usually in NFL for the past years I've been watching it, usually the offense come out firing before the defense have a chance to settle in. Because for one thing, they haven't watched tape on the offense yet in the first 3 games. Secondly, the offense can do what they want. So usually the offense has a one step forward past the defense. But it takes like 3 games. Some teams take 1 game or 2 games, but most of them take 3 to 4 games, like you said. So I'm leaning towards offense have to make sure they get in that red zone or get close, don't kick field goals, get touchdowns. Because they're gonna be the same way that we are. We're gonna be a step slower on defense than they're gonna be on offense. So we have to make sure we score the points. I don't want to see a shootout. I don't want to see a score of 40 like yesterday's college scores. You see those college scores. I don't want to see that unless we're on the winning side of it. But yeah, usually the defense is a little bit slower than the offense is to get started.
Plus the one thing, and here's one thing as a coach, and you guys have heard me talk about how I've coached in the past, and week one is all about tempo. And if you look at both of our offensive coordinators, you look at Chip Kelly, you look at, and we'll dive more into the actual matchup. I'm sure, but like week 1 is going to be all about tempo. And it's going to be about utilizing that run game. You look at we have Ashton Genty. We're going to give him the rock 25 to 27 times that first week. At least I expect that to be the case. And so you're going to lean on the running game to try to get that momentum to sustain drives. And we all know Josh McDaniels likes the running game as well. They got a young running back, Travion Henderson. You got Ramondre Stevenson that can just kind of pound the rock a little bit. I think that we're going to lean a lot on that run game to kind of sustain that momentum and try to create a tempo. So that's why I think we're not going to have Geno Smith throw the ball 35 times, 37 times. And I don't think they're going to have Drake May throw it 35, 37 times. So I think it's going to be more of a try to gain momentum, retain the ball, kind of dominate that ball control, and kind of methodically kind of move their way downfield. It's going to be a lot of tempo throws too. It's going to be a lot of hitch routes, a lot of quick out routes. And that's what Geno likes to do. And then you kind of shock them with a little bit of a push downfield, right? A little, you try to hit that deep ball periodically. At least that's what I'd like to see. But I think that's what we're going to see a lot this week 1 game is both offense coordinators trying to play that possession, that possession game.
Yeah, the key boy, yeah. Totally agree with that. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be one of the high-scoring games. It could probably be in the 20s if we're lucky, but it's going to be a low-scoring game because each coordinator going to try to figure out the other defense, like what they're doing. And Geno Smith is good for those little short passes and medium passes. But now and then, he probably take a deep ball just to keep the defense honest. Yeah, same thing with Drake May. I don't know how strong Drake May's arm is. I've never really watched him play that much. But I don't know if he can throw a deep ball like Geno can.
He can push the ball. He can push the ball. I mean, he did it at North Carolina. So I don't see him having any issues of pushing the ball, but and they got some weapons over there that they can, and it's trying to understand how Josh McDaniels is going to utilize Stephon Diggs against this young, kind of unproven cornerback room, right? Eric Stokes, who knows what we're going to get at Eric Stokes. And then if Darian Porter is the starter or Kai Blue Kelly, that is two young corners that Josh McDaniels has been in this league long enough. And now you have a veteran receiver that is historically touted as one of the better receivers in the National Football League. How are you going to expose the matchup and find Stephon Diggs locked up with, a Kai Blue Kelly or a Darian Porter? And how do you utilize that? So the matchup's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Diggs is a wily veteran. He's crafty, so he know how to, do little things in that these guys probably haven't seen yet. So that's the one thing. Speaking of secondary, I mean to change the subject right quick, but you ought to talk about Jabril Peppers.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think they should go get him? Because he wasn't released. So when to trade a pick for him, anything like that.
I thought he was released.
Yeah, he was. So I was saying when to trade for him. No draft picks, anything like that.
If you look at when we brought on Jamal Adams, the day that we actually the day that we picked up Jamal Adams, I posted a video on my channel basically saying the way that I think Jamal Adams is going to be used in this defense is very similar to the way that Patrick Graham used Jabril Adams when he had him with the New York Giants. More of in the box. You're going to be basically playing more, in the flats up towards the line of scrimmage. And next thing, it's funny. I went to the open practice the very next day, and now you see Jamal Adams working strictly with the linebackers, and it made all the sense in the world. And so, you bring in if you bring in a Jabril Peppers, I don't think it moves the needle really. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be a depth piece. That's really it. It's a depth piece that if Jamal Adams, and it's a safety blanket because Jamal Adams, he's got his injury history. Yeah, I think he's going to ball. I think he's going to do extremely well in this Patrick Graham defense. But the thing is we're going to hold our breath every single time he's out on that football field because we know what his history is. Now, the good thing about Jabril Peppers is that if Jamal Adams does go down and if Patrick Graham thinks Jamal Adams is going to be a big part of this offense, you might be able to use him in the same way. You might be able to. Not saying he's going to be as effective, but if you bring in Jabril Peppers, I think it's just a depth piece, and it's a guy that is maybe a safety blanket if Jamal Adams goes down. And Jeremy Chin is going to be used like a very physical safety, and we don't really have anybody else in this locker room that can emulate what Jeremy Chin and Jamal Adams can do. We really don't. Outside of that, I mean, our other safeties is Chris Smith. He made the 53, but Chris Smith he's more of a free safety. I think they actually have him slotted in as a strong safety. He's not going to be able to jump in and do the same thing. The other safety, we got Darnay Holmes. He's more of a slot corner. So, and nickel. So, I think if you bring him in, he's purely depth piece, but I don't think he would be able to do anything near what Jeremy Chin and Jamal Adams can do on this defense. So it's just a safety blanket that we may need if someone goes down.
Yeah, I agree because our depth is not. I mean, we have safeties, but you talking about like Trey Taylor, Chris Smith. That's our depth on the safety room. Because I mean, probably he's using. He's more experienced than those guys put together. I don't think he'll start. He'll probably rotate in now and then. But like I said, there's one thing about him. He's been released. It won't cost us any draft picks or any any capital. I don't know how much money can we looking for because we have money, but first we got to take care of you got to take care of Jacoby Myers. I don't know what they're waiting on to extend this guy because he's there. I don't think he said won't be traded. And that's a tactic we both know that some guys use to either get that trade or get more money. So, but he's not talking about it. He's not social medializing it. He's not saying this and that negative about the Raiders. Trade me, trade me, trade me. He just said, I want to trade because I want this much money. And Raiders said, no. And then I said, well, trade me so I get some more money. Understandable. But if they plan on keeping him, they should go and just pay him. Because he is a key part of the offense last year. He's Mr. Reliable. Last year, like totally reliable. So why would you lose a reliable player? I know they got Thornton, good down the field guy. He's still unproven yet because he played against, like you said, 3s and 4s. Best was I didn't even see him. He had caught a couple passes, so we can't rely on those guys. Tucker is Tucker, and you can't keep going to Bowers every single time because the defense is going to key on him every game. They know what he did last year. They don't want to do it this year. So if you got a guy who can catch a ball and had 0 drops, then you got to resign him because that's your 3rd down and 8 guy. You know he's reliable for getting that 3rd down.
Yeah, there's multiple ways to kind of look at this Jakobi Meyers situation, unfortunately, and you can look at it in 2 ways. One, start in the very beginning. A lot of people were talking about, Max got his extension, right? And then we're talking about Colton Miller and Jakobi Meyers, right? And everybody was like, extend both of them. And if you could choose one, I said I'd extend Colton Miller, right? Left tackles don't grow on trees. He still can produce like a top. I wouldn't say he has the potential to finish as a top 10 tackle. He has that potential to. Maybe he ends up being like a top, I'd say, 13 tackle, but he's got the potential to be a top tackle in this National Football League. And you got Geno Smith, so you have to protect him. Jakobi Meyers has a skill set that you can find elsewhere. He's not a true number 1. He's an extremely good number 2. But unfortunately, in this locker room, he is a number 1 because of the way that our receiver room looks like, right? He is a true number 1. Now, obviously, we all know Brock Bowers is going to be our number 1 target. Right. But if you just look strictly at the receiver room, he is the number 1. Now, if I were to only be able to extend one, I'd extend Colton Miller. But now we find ourselves in this situation, is that I think Jack Bech was brought in to be the Jakobi Meyers replacement. And I was actually sitting with Leo on that day 2 of the draft. And as soon as we drafted Jack Bech, I looked over at Leo. I was like, there's Jakobi Meyers replacement. Because he emulates exactly what Jakobi Meyers is coming out of college. Now, I have a lot of question marks whether or not Jack Bech can be good. He's a former tight end at LSU. He moved over. He was a receiver. And I had concerns whether or not he could actually get separation in the National Football League. But here's the thing, is I'm all about players wanting to get what they're worth. And so Jakobi Meyers, I think him asking for a trade, that is only the next steps in the negotiation process on his end. It's just showing, hey, Raiders, you better move the needle. I want. Basically, he wants his money, and rightfully so. I'm all about players getting paid, but I also think Jakobi Meyers sees the writing on the wall. I think that if you look at our situation last year, he comes off of the best season he's ever had. 1,000+ yards, 0 drops, balled out. But he also knew it was only him and Brock Bowers, and we had no running game. So he understands that he was one of the only 2 targets in that offensive room. Now you move to this year, and now we have a bunch of mouths to feed. Ashton Genty's going to get 27 touches a game. We're going to feed the ball to Deontay Thornton. Brock Bowers is going to get his targets. We might even feed Trey Tucker. Michael Mayer might find himself getting 2-3, attempts a game or passes a game. We're going to share the football. We're going to move it around. So his production, Jakobi Meyers' production, is most likely going to drop off this year, not because he's not good, but it's because he just won't get as many opportunities because we have more weapons. And now we have a mobile quarterback. Now Geno Smith might take off 2-3 times a game and try to get some first downs with his legs, and he might try to, move the chains a little bit with his legs. Last year, not too many mobile quarterbacks that we had sitting under center. So I think Jacoby Myers knows that he may not get as many opportunities. So if you're that fan that says, no, Jacoby, you go show your worth, go show that you can earn that next contract, I don't think he'll get the opportunity to show it because we're going to feed so many other people. So he may only end up with 700 yards and, maybe, 700 yards and maybe 40 plus catches or what have you. Like, he just may not have those opportunities. Now, in addition to that, look at what our receivers look like right now outside of Jacoby Myers. You got Deontay Thornton that still needs to build chemistry with Geno Smith. And you have Jack Besh, which again, I think is the Jacoby Myers replacement. He struggled in preseason. Yeah. He's going to be a project. And so Jacoby Myers sees that and goes, look, I am still, even though you went and drafted a receiver in the second round and you drafted a receiver in the fourth round, one maybe to replace me, I'm still the number one, clear number one in this locker room. I may not be a number one compared to the rest of the National Football League, but I am a clear number one in this receiver room, and I want my worth. So I think that's he's trying to get that leverage. So that's looking at in the shoes of Jacoby Myers. But then you look at it in the shoes of the Raiders. I think they're going to try to, they might extend him, right? But if they don't, then I think that they are saving up this draft or this salary cap because you can roll over. I think you can roll over, I think like 11% of the salary cap. I think they're trying to roll over the salary cap to potentially make some big moves next year. Because again, Jacoby Myers, he is replaceable because he's not a true number one. But I think that they're going to try to, they might try to save it and make big splashes next year. So
yeah, because soon, like I said, I watched the draft with Jeff and some few other guys like you did. As soon as they signed Besh, I said, well, there's Jacoby Myers Jacoby Myers replacement right there. Because basically he does almost exact same things he does. He doesn't drop any passes. He gets on those quick routes, makes the catch. Mm-hmm. So I said there's a replacement, but I don't think he was ready for the NFL yet. That's why preseason he didn't do much. But like I said, the writing's on the wall.
It is. And the other thing for everybody kind of has that clarity. Yes, he asked for a trade, but he's still at practice. Mm-hmm. So he might play the rest of the season. I don't know what his current contract looks like. So for example, a lot of players, if you miss practice or you miss a game, you don't get those game checks. I don't think he has anything else guaranteed on his contract. And so if he doesn't play, he's missing out on that game check every single week. And so we might we might see him continue to play. And I think that's where the Raiders have their leverage, is that I don't think he has any more guaranteed money. That's why he wants that extension. And so if he doesn't play, he doesn't get his game check.
Right.
So in that case, the Raiders might have that leverage. And Jacoby Myers might find himself just playing the rest of the season, and he'll continue to play. But man, again, I'm all about players getting paid. That's
I mean, if they're worth it, pay them. If they do pay them. But like you said, he's not going to see as many touches he just saw last year because we only had two receivers. That was Brock Bowers and him. This year we got multi receivers, and also we got running backs that can catch the ball too as well. Last year we didn't have that. So Geno Smith had more options just going to Brock Bowers all the time and hit Jacoby Myers all the time. He got multiple weapons. But still, what he did last year for us and what he can do this year for us, I still say if you're going to extend him, pay him what he's worth. Don't predict what he might be worth.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't. Well, you might only have, like you said, you might only have 60 catches for us or 50 catches for us, 700 yards or something. And 2 touchdowns. That's all we think you're going to get next year. So we're not going to extend you or we're going to pay you very little. But like you said, he's because most guys want to trade, they don't go to practice. Or they just stand there, they don't do anything. And he's there every day at practice. participate.
And he's a great locker room guy. Like, he is the guy that you want as a veteran receiver to kind of be the example of these young receivers. So it's also kind of looking at in that space as well, is that he's that lunch pail guy. He's that guy, that blue collar guy that's going to come to work every day and really, and really try to show these young rookies how to conduct yourself as a professional. So I'm look, at the end of the day, like you're saying, Chris, bring him on and make sure that the contract's right. You know, my starting point was at 18 million per year. Give an extension for 18 mil per year. If they work themselves in upwards of 22, maybe even 23, I'd be okay with that, because even if you sign them for 23 a year, next year with the increase in salary cap, he's gonna get paid like a bottom 20 receiver next year. So, again, I do hope we bring him back, and that's all because the young rookies, there's still a bunch of question marks as to how they're going to work out. So
Corey Myers signed a 3-year contract worth $33 million, $11 million a year. Signing bonus of $5.5 million, guaranteed $10.5 million. That's his contract now as it stands right now. That's what he yes, that's what it stands right now. Total guaranteed money is $21 million out of 33. So is where he's at right now. I think he more or less I think he wanted a little bit more money, but he also wanted guaranteed money, like you said. He wants something like, hey, I want to be guaranteed I get paid for this. Because you can't remember, football is a rough sport. They don't tell you go out there in first game and get hit, but then your money's gone because you're not at the games, you're not playing, you're not practicing. So if they don't play, they don't get paid. So I want my guaranteed money.
Yep. Because look, the NFL is a brutal business. The NFL is, everybody's heard them coin the sayings, not for long, right? But at the same time, you got the league is about what have you done for me lately.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the league is. It's not about what you did for me a year ago or 2 years ago. It's about what have you done for me lately. Perfect example is look at Cam Miller. When Cam Miller produced that first preseason game, the entire Raider fan base was like, all right, Aiden O'Connell, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, nuts. Yeah.
They went crazy. They're like, oh, Cam Miller's he's the truth. But then everything kind of came back down to earth, that second and third preseason game, and now everybody saw it in the real perspective. And so that's what the NFL is. It's what have you done for me lately? And it's not just about, young players or veterans or what have you. It applies to everybody. And so that's why players want to go out and they want to get their contract. And I'm all for it, because you can produce yesterday, but you could be forgot about today.
Yeah.
Because you made one bad mistake.
Yeah. For one, you can have a great year that year, like, whoa, he's all pro, he's all star. He had career catches, career touchdowns. And next year, just stink to bed. He's like, well, we're paying all this money. Why can't you perform like that last year? That's like what you said. Not for long. What have you done? Nothing. And you can't predict what they're going to do next year, because we don't know what they're going to do. You go out there and get an injury or something, then you pay him all his millions and millions of dollars, and he don't contribute to the team.
Well, and the only other thing to think about, and you hear these stories in the past, right, where players, if they go into that last game of the regular season and they need 3 catches to get that $100,000 bonus, there's literally organizations out there will tell them not to pass the ball to that player just to screw them over of that bonus. Like, it happens all the time. We just don't hear about it, but you hear those stories. You hear about those one-off stories where a player will literally get taken out of a game because they could potentially hit a bonus on this game and they get taken out. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, at the end of the day, it's just trying to understand or look at it in the perspective of this is a business. And players sometimes get royally screwed because owners don't want to pay them their money. You know what I'm saying? And so,
those bonuses come out the owner's pocket. They say, wait a minute, if you get one more catch, I got to pay him an extra $1 million if you get 10 more yards, I got to pay him extra $100,000. They'll make a phone call, say, take him out. I'm not paying him.
I mean, look at what just happened with Shedeur Sanders. Now, look, I know you guys have heard me say it. I did not have a first-round grade on Shedeur Sanders. I had a third-round grade on him. I thought he was a third-round grade, Shedeur Sanders. Him dropping to the fifth was pretty wild. But now you hear all the reports come out saying that the NFL kind of had a play in it. And so, that's taking money out of someone's pocket. Let's say he did get drafted in the third. If he got drafted where he maybe supposedly should have gone again, I had a third round grade, so I'm not saying that he should have went in the third. But if he did go in the third, the money difference between a third and fifth rounder, that could be a couple mil. You know what I'm saying? And so you basically took money out of his pocket. And this could happen to anybody, but you took money out of his pocket because the NFL wanted to make a move. And that's what the reports are coming out saying, is that the NFL kind of had a hand into where he kind of ended up. So, again, at the end of the day, I'm all about the players getting paid, because you could produce yesterday but get forgot about today. So,
it's sports. It's sports. That's all it is. It's a game that we played as kids, for free in the street or in a park. It's sports. That's what they're doing. But on the other flip side, it's a business. These owners are in a business to make money, not to lose money. So they're going to make sure they got the best investments. They play the owners, not the coach or general manager. It had nothing to do with the money. The owner's going to say it's a good investment. Will he bring in people into the games? Will we win more games? Will we get more ticket sales or jersey sales and all the other stuff they get compensation for? So they got to make the right business decision. Like, we don't want to pay this guy first round money, because first rounders get paid the most. Let's have him drop down to the fifth so we can pay him less and give him a lesser contract. We're going to give him a 4-year contract with a possible fifth. We can just give him a 3-year contract or 2-year contract. If we don't like it, we can just waive and we won't lose anything but that draft pick that we wasted on. So it's all a business. You got to understand that. Business first.
It's a business, and I mean, I'll kind of make this last point on the whole Shedeur thing is I think what the NFL did, and again, pure speculation, but I think what the NFL did, because of just the lead up to the whole Shedeur Sanders thing with Deion Sanders going out and saying, I'm going to dictate kind of where he goes. There's teams that he won't go to. Yeah. I'll be honest, I think they were prepping for the Archie Manning situation. I think they're prepping to basically send a message saying you're not going to do that. So whether it works or not, I don't know. But I think they're sending a message because, the Manning family, they got that history that they'll do the same exact thing. And I think they're trying to just basically send a message. I think. Yeah.
Well, I think the NFL didn't. I know they didn't like what the Mannings did for Eli and stuff. Yeah. I know they didn't like that. So they can say, well, I'll tell you what, it won't happen again.
I know.
You can say what you want to. If this team is that bad and they can draft in the first round, they can do what they want. But you can't tell us, the NFL, that you're gonna tell us where your son can go. If they did that, it's gonna be a trend again. It's gonna be a trend. All these fathers and mothers and all these football players can get on the phone and say, "Don't draft my son," because I don't want to play for your team. Yeah. Because I'm a Minnesota Viking fan. I want him to go to Minnesota. Well, they don't need a quarterback, but I want him to go there. So they have to draft him. They don't want that. They don't want the fans and the family, and I'll say they had that much pull to tell them what they should do.
Yeah.
It's like you being a plumber going to tell the mechanic how to put carburetor in. You can't tell them what to do. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the NFL, I don't think the NFL is going to allow anybody to kind of dictate what happens, no matter who you are. I think the NFL is going to basically say, look, like, it's going to run the way we want it to run. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Okay, just to make sure you guys understand, just in case you join us late or coming in, thanks for coming and dropping by to see my special guest, 805 Raider, great guy. Make sure you check his show out. He has good insights. He breaks down games. He brings on tape on not just the game itself, but its players, and he gets a report on that. Great show. I watch it all the time. That's one of the reasons I started watching the YouTube channel, because it was this guy here and a couple other guys. But anyway, if you notice, this is the Pillaging Show with me and Raider Jeff. I mentioned earlier that last week that his wife's expecting. So this morning, he's at the hospital with his wife. I haven't got any updates yet. So they're expecting a new Raider into the family. So just let you guys know, just coming in. Anyway, I appreciate you, A5, coming in. Thank you.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Well, on a lighter note, so they signed Amari Cooper,
They did.
and I know the nation was split on that. Why did they bring him back? They said this about Amari Cooper. He said this about the Raiders when he left. He got traded. He didn't want to leave. Or I don't know if he did want to leave. I know he had a bad year that one year, he dropped a lot of passes. But they just traded him away. He didn't I want to trade or just up and quit. So when they decided to get rid of you, you're going to have a little animosity. Plus, he was, 23 years old or 20, 24? Young. A little immaturity there. Bringing him back, it will help out the wide receiver room, I know, for sure. Because he's another veteran who can help the young guys. Because just in case Jacoby Myers didn't work out, who's in the room? Who's a veteran in the room? Trey Tucker is the oldest player in the room. We don't want that.
Yeah. I think, again, kind of dropped a video on this on my channel as well, and I'm going to kind of reserve judgment a little bit on what this move tells me, because it all depends on Jacoby Myers. If Jacoby Myers doesn't sit out, which again, I don't foresee him sitting out because he won't get those game checks. It would be tough for him to really sit out and not get those game checks. So I do think he'll end up playing even if he doesn't get a contract extension. And so if Jacoby Myers plays out this year, even without a contract extension, then I think it's a good move. Yeah, again, you bring another veteran, you bring in a guy that can be just a replacement, a backup potentially. He might get himself 15 to 17 snaps a game. Just another guy that you have to just be aware that's on the football field. So, for me, if Jacoby Myers, some way, somehow, whether it's an extension or he decides to play, then if he plays the whole season, I think it's a good pickup. I don't mind it. Now, if we do extend Jacoby Myers and we bring in Amari Cooper, that tells me, or at least, in my opinion, it feels like Jack Besh might be developing slower than they thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
Because you pick Jack Besh in the second round. That's a guy, whenever you pick a player in the second round, you're hoping that he has an impact right away or very, very quickly at some point in the season. And that doesn't look like that's the case right now. He struggled in preseason. Could he develop halfway through the season? Of course. Players can it can click for players. But if you just based on what we saw in the preseason, again, if Jacoby plays the entire season with or without an extension, it tells me that Jack Besh is maybe just taking a little bit longer to develop. And that sucks because, again, you pick somebody in the second round. I want them to start. I want them to have an impact very, very quickly in the season. And so now if Jacoby Myers doesn't play, if we find ourselves in a situation that Jacoby Myers sits out or whatever it may be, or he does end up getting traded, which I don't see that happening right now, to be honest. It's too close to the season. I just don't see a trade happening. Only
one team probably do that be McDermott here because that's his boy. That's why I was only thinking about see that if there was a trade, he will probably go get Jacoby Myers because he brought him in here. So
to think a receiver's going to come in and just have an impact right away outside of Josh McDaniels, because Jacoby Myers is somewhat familiar with his offense. It'd be hard-fetched to believe that someone thinks that Jacoby Myers is going to come in and be an impact player right away if you try to trade for him. But if for some weird reason Jacoby Myers doesn't play and he holds out or whatever it may be, and your backup plan was Amari Cooper, we in trouble. We're in big trouble because Jacoby Myers is not, or Amari Cooper is not the Amari Cooper that we had, back when we drafted him. He's not even the Dallas Cowboys Amari Cooper. And so if Amari Cooper is some way, somehow, the Jacoby Myers replacement for this season, again, if he doesn't play, we're in trouble. Like we could arguably have the worst receiver room in the National Football League.
Well, he is a safety net. They brought him in because, like I said, they didn't know what Jacoby Myers was going to do. Because, like I said, our receiver room is very young. Like I said, the vet of the team is Tucker. So, as far as 3 years?
Yeah.
And you can't rely on that.
Third year, I think.
Yeah, it's third year. You can't rely on that. So bring them in, not knowing what they're going to do with Jacoby Myers. Were they going to trade him or he sit out? And like you said, I don't see him sitting out. Jacoby Myers don't strike me as that type of person. You don't hear from him. He doesn't say much. He's quiet. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. I heard he's a good guy in the locker room. I don't see him screwing the Raiders over by being a diva. He's not one. There's not one of those types. But he's just a safety net. Cooper probably be in the game. Well, he will be in game one. Just running some whatever routes he can learn real quick. So it's more of a safety net. And he said in his press conference that, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna do what I do, and I'm gonna help the young guys out." So that's probably another reason why they brought him in.
Yeah, and hopefully, I mean, look, Amari Cooper. I'll talk more about Amari Cooper, but the thing about if Jacoby Myers truly had the intention of sitting out, he would have sat out. He would not report to practice. And if Jacoby Myers and the Raiders have any, if they have any leverage to trade with another team, is going to be more at that trade deadline, middle of the season. And the reason being is because then that gives other teams opportunity to figure out, oh shit, our receiver room isn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
And so that trade deadline, in the middle of the season is where if they get any value out of Jacoby Myers, that's probably where Jacoby Myers can get a better contract, possibly. And the Raiders could maybe get a little more trade value out of him. Not at the beginning of the season where everybody is kind of hyped up and ready to rock.
Right.
It's half of the season when an injury happens, right? If there's a team that has a major injury and that receiver room looks a little weak, then you might find yourself at the trade deadline having a little more leverage to get more for Jacoby Myers. So I think if we see a trade, it'll be more at the trade deadline, if anything. But again, Jacoby Myers, he's at practice. I don't see him sitting out, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's there. Hey, he's there every day because some players will be traded. They just sit out or they just stand on the sidelines and go on social media and they do all this stuff. So, but he's not doing none of that. And I think he wants to be here. He just want to get paid his value. That's all. That's all he's asking for. So I don't know if it was the McLaurin, where that guy is, and Commanders. They signed that big, huge contract. I don't know if that triggered him or he probably had thoughts for a while. It just came out at the exact same time.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It could have triggered it. Or, again, I feel like it's just the next step in the negotiations on his side. Basically sending a message to the Raiders going, look, like if you're not going to extend me, yeah, you might as well trade me. But when we talk about Amari Cooper, here's the tough part about Amari Cooper is what made Amari Cooper so good when he was with us and even with the Cowboys was his speed. Right? He's a good route runner, but he's not a great route runner. His speed is what kind of separated him in a receiver room. And because here's the thing, if you're a good route runner, if you're an elite route runner, once your speed starts to kind of tail off, you're still going to be able to find yourself on a roster because you're a good route runner, because you can find yourself beneficial to a receiver room because you bring that aspect. But the thing is we were a week and a half before the first game of the NFL season, and he still wasn't rostered, which tells me there's 31 other teams that did not like him. Yeah. I know that I think he had a couple other options, but if you're waiting for a week and a half prior to the first game of the NFL season, that means that, look, there's not a lot of teams that really liked what you brought to a receiver room. So to think that he's going to jump in here and all of a sudden produce, that I just don't see it happening. He was with a Buffalo Bills receiver room that had Shakir Shaheed, which quick, fast receiver, undersized receiver, and a rookie, Keon Coleman. That's what they had. And the Bills are like, yeah, no, we're going to move on from you, and we're going to bring in Josh Palmer. So it's like, even the Buffalo Bills with an elite quarterback like Josh Allen were like, yeah, no, you can walk on.
Yeah, they traded halfway through the season for him. As they say, yeah, nah, never mind.
Yeah, so to think that Amari Cooper is going to come here and actually do something for us is tough. Again, he could be a good rotational piece. He could be a good guy that can get maybe 15 snaps a game and situational, and just, again, be a guy that, yeah, you got to account for him. You got to know where he's out on the field. But to think he's going to come in and be a replacement for anybody is far fetched, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to replace anybody right away to be that number one. I think he's going to be involving a lot into the flow of the game. He come in, might start, might not. I don't know how they going to set it up, but he's going to be involved in the game at some point or another. The thing is that everybody's mad because he dropped a lot of catches. Well, a lot of his life he dropped catches. Very few that can go a season without dropping a catch, and that was Jacoby Myers.
That was.
Yeah, so I think it was an asset. Assets to us. He'll help out. He'll get in the games. He's not getting paid a bunch of money, so it's not like we're breaking a bank. So, plus he's 31 now. I forgot how old he was.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, so he can go ahead and play this season, last season if he want, because, like you said, nobody picked him up all the way to the end. He probably is going to retire as a Raider.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, and Rosetown, what's up, man? I see you in there. The only thing I will say, Rosetown, is you're saying Cooper can get attention and get doubled. Respectfully, ain't nobody doubling Amari Cooper. You're doubling Brock Bowers. Yep. You're maybe doubling Deontay Thornton if you can potentially show that you're going to attempt to throw deep, 2 maybe 3 times a game, maybe complete one. I think if Deontay Thornton turns into that deep threat that we want him to be, he might get that double in certain situations, not all game, but in certain situations. But I think you're going to double Brock. But I just don't see any team feeling that Cooper's threatening enough to double him.
Yeah, because Brock Bowers will be the focal point of all these defenses because they saw what he did last year. And he probably can do not exactly the same this year, but he can do the same thing. So they see Amari Cooper on the field, they're like, no, we can see him cover him. We got fast enough DBs to cover him. So yeah, he won't get doubled. Because he's the only receiver on the field.
I know. And Chris, man, salute to you, man. I appreciate you bringing me on. Salute to Jason at the hospital, man. Good luck to him. Salute to everybody in the chat. But hey, I'm sharing the first beer on a holiday weekend with y'all, man. I appreciate you letting me come on here.
Hey, well, you know what? Let me get my beer. I'm thinking I'm clean from Friday night. I didn't have anything to drink yesterday, so let me share the beer with you right quick.
Let's have some fun. Let's kick this a holiday weekend off right, man.
That's right. Got barbecue in a couple of hours for tomorrow. Yeah, I got to slow cook some ribs for about 8 hours. Well, not 8 hours, about 5 hours.
Man, I'll tell you, it's I'm getting the party started, so we'll see how I function because we're breaking down some game film tonight on our live in the war room.
And go ahead. If anybody got it, I know everybody probably have it. I always ask the guests when they come in, put their link in the chat, and so I would make sure everybody goes. Because I tell you one thing, this guy right here, might have his opinions about him, might be wrong and stuff like that, but this guy, he does break down films and players because that one. Man, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna toast you on that. There you go. Cheers. That one play with Lucky Toski, I saw him pancake that guy, but then you pointed out he pointed his finger at him like, "Stay down." Yep. And I thought that was great.
Yeah, man, it was awesome, man. When I saw it, it was like, man, I gotta point that out because it just shows it just shows his attitude. It showed the confidence that he had, in that play. And that's the type of attitude you definitely want to bring. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, it was fun to kind of point that out.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was funny. So, Mark Cooper talk about what you call him. So, with that being said, the defensive line. I know your boys there, Adam Butler.
Okay, y'all cheers to that.
You were thrilled about that night. I remember coming up, me and Jeff show. You was like happy.
My boy Adam Butler.
But this one guy I want to point out, although like I said, it's preseason.
Yeah.
He was against the 3 and 4s. Talking Hemingway.
Mm-hmm.
Looked good out there.
Yeah.
He looked good. I don't know, he's not gonna start, but we got him, and Pig Goose looked good too. I don't think he played that much last game, but he looks good fast. So the defensive line altogether looks good. Only thing I'm waiting on is see if Malcolm Coombs can get that speed back up like he was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. So what do you think? How did Coombs look to you out there on preseason?
So that very first preseason game, he looked very tentative. He looked almost like he was going 50% out there. And rightfully so, right? He's coming off an injury. He hasn't played in a year and a half. So I think he was just trying to smoothly transition his way into just kind of get some real action again. But then I looked at the entire starting defense, and it looked like the entire starting defense was doing the same thing. You looked at Adam Butler. You looked at Max Crosby, even Jonah Laulu when he went in there. All of them looked like they were just kind of going through the motion. Because the one thing to remember is that these players don't get paid for a preseason game. And so you don't want to run the risk of getting injured in the preseason. And so, but at the same time, you got to play that game because anybody knows that if you played this game before, if you half-ass it, if you go 50%, that's most likely when you end up getting hurt, right? So I think they tried to they tried to kind of find that medium to where I'm going to be out there, I'm going to play, kind of get my feet wet again, kind of get my everything underneath me, but I'm not going to risk any injury. And so that very first game against Seattle, it looked like the entire defense was just kind of going through the motions. And that's what Malcolm Koonce looked like. He literally looked like he was going through the motions. But then the very next game against the 49ers, I saw him in a pass rush, kind of get involved in a little bit of a stunt, and it looked like the old Malcolm Koonce again. I was like, okay. I see him kind of getting, and I pointed out when we broke down game film, was that it looked like his motor started running again. And then you looked at him against the Cardinals that last preseason game, and you can look and go, okay, oh shit, I'm seeing it again. I'm seeing the old Malcolm Koonce kind of come back. So, I think some people forget just how good Malcolm Koonce was at the tail end of that 2023 season. I mean, he was good against the pass, and he was very good against the run because he's really elusive, and he's quick. And so I have confidence that Malcolm Koonce is going to be okay. I think, if he can get himself a 7 to 8 sacks a season this year, I think that's a good season for him. So I got confidence that Malcolm Koonce is going to be able to kind of come out and produce. It might take him 2, maybe 3 games to really get going because again, he hasn't played in a year and a half. But I got confidence that Malcolm Koonce is gonna produce.
That's what I said. Same thing because I saw the first game. He looked kind of slow on his get off. He kind of like he was tentative because he got hurt last year before we even got to preseason. So I know that probably subconsciously back in his mind, I want to play this year. So I'm not going to go full out. I'm not going to go hard. It's only preseason. Like you said, players don't get paid for preseason. I didn't know that either. I heard about it, but I didn't know about it. So why am I going to go all out? Because they're on the team. Only person that can go all out is those late rounds. And usually they got to go all out because they got to prove themselves to make the team. Yeah. And I thought he was tender because back in his mind, he thought about that injury. Like, I don't want to do this again. Because when I heard that there was a couple of teams that wanted to pay him a little bit more than the Raiders paying him, but he said, no, I want to stay here with the Raiders. So that tells you he want to play for the Raiders. I don't know if it's true to that or not, but he just, hey, I'm taking it easy. And Pete Carroll knew that probably. Everybody knew that. It's like, just get out there, get the rust off, get the flow, pick the field of a football game because nobody hit you. Nobody hit you in a while. So go see what that feel like again.
And the other thing to just remember is that we played our starters and they all played their backups. Those could be second, third, maybe even fourth stringers, right? So our starters are out there going against backups. And I'll tell you right now, some of the most dangerous football is in those late fourth quarter preseason games because these are guys that are fighting for their NFL career. Right. And so they're going to go all out without question. And they're going to be flying around. And so when you're going against guys that are fighting for a position to kind of go from a second to maybe a second stringer to a starter or a third stringer to a second, like these guys are fighting. And when you're a known starter, you're going to make this team. You got a starting position like a Max Crosby and Adam Butler and all these guys. Yeah. You're going against guys that are going to want to take your goddamn head off because they're trying to make a statement. And sometimes that is the most dangerous. Like that last game against the Cardinals. We played our starters where they basically were playing some of their third and fourth stringers because these guys are trying to make the team. These guys are going to look to take your goddamn head off.
Yeah. Trying to make that highlight tape because, they found like, hey, coach, look what I can do. I took his head off. Sign me. That's the difference between being employed by the NFL and being unemployed by the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
So you're right. They want to go out there and just okay, you know what? I'm going to bring this up. It's off topic. But Jack Kennedy's in the room. What is his bet about this beer stuff? You got to buy a pitcher of beer in Bakersfield. He keep bringing it up every single time. What is that?
Yeah. So the bet's called I win because I'm going to win that bet. That's what the bet's called. But so basically, a lot of people love JJ Pegues. A lot of his highlight film was him running the rock in college, right? And so a lot of people are basically saying that JJ Pegues he could be that short yardage back. And for myself, I'm like, look, college and pros are something completely different, right? And so at the end of the day, the likelihood that JJ Pegues is even going to get a carry in the NFL is almost nothing. That's just my opinion. Again, because look, we have you're not going to put in JJ Pegues when you have a number 6 overall pick at Ashton Genty. Like Ashton Genty better get that short yardage carry. But
all right.
We had a little friendly bet, and basically it's 2 pitchers. We got 2 pitchers on the line. So if JJ Pegues just gets 1 carry in a regular season game, maybe even a playoff game if we make it, if he just gets 1 carry, I owe Jack Kenna 2 pitchers. If he doesn't get a single carry all season long, he owes me 2 pitchers. And so once again, that's why the bet's called I win. That's what it's called because I'm going to win. But.
Yeah, so I told Jack Kenna, I said, well, we met 805 in Bakersfield. He bought pitchers anyway, so what difference did it make? But I guess that's something they said had something to talk about. I was cool because he keeps bringing it up. He said, "Oh, we'll make sure if I get my 2 pitchers of beer." I said, "Okay, well, we'll see." I don't know if I'm gonna get my 2 pitchers of beer when I go up and see him in Bakersfield again. So
yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah. It's gonna be fun, and look, like little bets like that are fun because no matter how the season kind of pans out, I'll be watching JJ Pegues when that offense is on the field, making sure he don't step foot on it. I'm gonna laugh my ass off, Jack, and I haven't said this in a chat when I get in the chat with you guys. I'm gonna laugh my ass off if JJ Pegues goes in the game on 3rd and 1, and there's a fullback in front of him, and we fake the handoff to him, and it goes to somebody else. I'm just saying. I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
I can see 8-foot tall Jack, man, just stand up out of his chair like, oh yeah, there he goes. That's my 2 pitches of beer. What? They get somebody else like,
and they fake the handoff to him, and it's like a quarterback and pass boot back the other way or something.
I'm glad he came in. I just want to let the nation know because they see him in the chat, and they probably really don't know exactly how it went down, but that's how it went down. All right,
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, there's funny games. Yeah. So somebody got I don't predict scores in the first game. 45-17 is like really, really, really too much. I don't think that's going to happen. It could. We can win 45-17, possibly,
Good.
but I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, so defensive line, linebackers, I think we're solid with that. Do you agree or no? Because I think we're better than last year's total room this year than we were last year.
Before, I don't know if I answered your first question about Tonka Hemingway, and I actually think Tonka Hemingway
yeah.
is. I think he's gonna be a very, very good rotational piece this year. He showed flashes again, like you said. It's against second and third stringers, but like again, anytime a rookie can flash is great, you know. And so I think at the end of the day, I think Tonka Hemingway shows that he's got all the traits, he's got all the mechanics to be a pretty good interior defensive lineman for us. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to see him continue to kind of progress. But at the end of the day, I think he was a
Fifth.
Was he a fifth round? No, because we didn't have a fifth.
No,
we
did.
A late fourth.
Yeah, that's right. We had two picks, right and fourth.
So with the fourth, he's a project, but I definitely I'm looking forward to watching him. When it comes to the linebacker room, look, you can't deny what a Landon Roberts has shown in the preseason. I think he's going to be a good downhill linebacker. He does a very good job of tracking the football in between the tackles. So it's going to be really fun to watch him kind of be that thumper on the defense. Jermaine Pratt, look, I think he's going to be a ball hawk. He led Cincinnati with he was their leading tackle last year. And you go back and you watch his game film, he does a really good job of getting to the football. And the hard part about his play last year was his interior defensive linemen were not very good. And so there's a lot of times where those offensive linemen were able to kind of get to him very easily because that interior defensive line was not very good. This year, because now Christian Wilkins isn't here, which is tough, but you got Adam Butler in front of him. Depending on who the other interior defensive lineman is, whether it's Laki Tasi, whether it's Jonah Laulu, we obviously brought in Booker. We'll see just how well this interior defensive line.
You mean Fotu? Not Takas. He's on the offensive line. Fotu.
Yeah, Leaky Fotu. It's going to be interesting to see just how much this defensive line attracts the double team to kind of get take the pressure off the linebackers, which is what the interior defensive lineman is supposed to do, especially in a 4-man front. So I want to see Jermaine Pratt fly, be that sideline to sideline guy. We broke down his game film. It looks like he can be serviceable in the passing game. So, but then you got Jamal Adams, man. I think Jamal Adams might be that just kind of game changer a little bit.
I agree because the way he played out there, it was like a rocket. He was tackling, wrapping up. He was always involved. He was always there wherever the ball was. If it was a run play, he was there. If it was a short pass game, he was there. He's always around the ball. And I like players like that always find himself around the ball. Don't have to necessarily make the tackle, but be that body to take up a block so somebody else can make that tackle. He's always around that ball.
He is. And so, what I like about this defense is we've brought in a lot of guys that have the ability to go sideline to sideline. Jermaine Pratt can get sideline to sideline. Jamal Adams can go sideline to sideline. Jeremy Chin, that's going to play up in the box, he can go sideline to sideline. So the one good thing about just our ability to stop the run is that we have fast, athletic linebackers that are going to be able to kind of get from sideline to sideline, which is going to be fun to watch. They're going to fly. Now, I know we'll talk about the secondary. That's a whole different story. But, I want to see just kind of how that evolves. And if you got Max that does very well against the run. You got Malcolm Kuntz, if he can get to the 2023. Malcolm Kuntz, he does well against the run. So I'm excited to really see how this defensive front, this front seven, is going to be able to work against the run. Because, man, they're fast and aggressive. So I'm excited to see it.
And another person there that people are still down on, I'd say he had a good showing. I know against the 3s and the 4s or whatever you want to call it, was Tyree Wilson. He showed me that he could play on the line on certain situations. every down, maybe not necessarily down the end, maybe not all the time, but he showed me that he can play because when it comes to him going against a guard, he has an advantage. He has those long arms. He's athletic. He's fast. And like I said, somebody mentioned in the chat a couple of days ago, said, well, if you can't get to the quarterback, you just put his long ass arms up and block the ball.
Yeah.
So he's a first round pick. His 4th year or third year.
This is going into his 3rd year.
Yeah, 3rd year. And he's a first round pick. Like you said, first round, second round picks should make an impact on the team immediately. He hasn't done that. But he did look a little better at the position they played him in. And I said he might play remember Javon Curse?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was one of those guys that played over the line of scrimmage. He played inside, outside. I don't know if they're trying to groom him to be that way.
Yeah.
But if they can, he'd be a threat on the defense side. I mean, he looked better than him.
Unfortunately, the first time that they tried Tyree, and I actually was saying this, and I posted a video on this a couple years ago, was I thought Tyree was better suited on the interior. Because when I watched his game film, when we drafted him, I honestly, he was never on my radar when we drafted him.
I didn't know he was.
He wasn't on my radar because we had Chandler Jones at the time. So we had Chandler Jones at the time. We had Max as well. And I sat there and go, I wanted Christian Gonzalez. That was the guy I wanted in that draft. And so once we drafted him, I was like, okay, let me kind of do some homework on this kid. And the problem that I saw, and you can go back and watch his film, what I saw with Tyree Wilson was that he was a man amongst boys at Texas Tech.
Thank you. Exactly the same thing I said. He had that one move. He just pushed those guys out the way. That was his move.
Yeah, he was able to manhandle everybody that they faced because they played a bunch of small schools. But then if you watch what offensive coordinators started to do against him, was that they ran a lot of RPOs. They ran a lot of read options off of him, and he was the read man. So they left him unblocked. And if you go back and watch some of his game film in college, is that a lot of the plays that he made was when he was unblocked because the quarterback made the wrong decision. They thought they kept the ball instead of handing it off, and he made a play, or that quarterback thought that they could boot around him, get the corner on him, and he's got a long stride, and he was able to hawk them down. He made these plays. To me, Tyree was, and I kind of coined this phrase of he's basically a highlight hero. That's what he was in college.
Yeah.
But he was a man amongst boys, and he was able to manhandle. So he wasn't able to take that bull rush to the league. He wasn't. And that was my biggest question mark with him. But when you moved him on the inside, because he had no second or third move, and we still see that today. He's got no second or third move off the edge. So when we moved him, I believe it was against the Giants in 2023 when we played the Giants and we moved him on the inside. And I was like, this is where I think he has the best chance of success. Not saying that he's going to be successful. The best chance at him having success was going to be on the interior. But the problem that I have with Tyree is I don't think mentally he has what it takes to be a good football player. I don't think he's got the emotion. I don't think he has the emotion. Like Max has that mental capacity to be a good football player. You can see the motor in him. You can see that he wants to get from A to B. Tyree, to me, just doesn't have the motivation, to be dead honest. That's the problem that if Rob Leonard is such a good defensive line coach, everybody touts Rob Leonard as a really good defensive line coach, but yet he still can't get anything out of Tyree. The hard part is that I think it's a more mental thing with Tyree, is that does he have the motivation to want to be a good player? Because I say all that to say, if you look at the success that he's had in the preseason, a lot of it, like the last game, the commentators touted Tyree for getting pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did.
He was unblocked.
Yeah.
It was a screenplay to his side, and the offensive line let him go. He chased the quarterback down. Well, a lot of the success that Tyree has is when he's literally unblocked. And
when he plays inside, he has a lot more. He has more chances inside, against those guards. And that's what I said. Say, well, maybe he's gonna be one of the NASCAR package or whatever the package they want to call it. Maybe he might be good at that. But it's a point that he could work with. He had a chance to work with Max for 3 years to teach him some skills and teach him a better attitude. Because, like you said, sometimes he didn't want to play football. Sometimes out there, even that I watched some of the practice on some of the practice. He's out there just going through the motions. Yeah. You're like, dude, and Max out there dancing around going crazy. So other players doing the same thing, but he just like taking a jog down the field when the other guys are sprinting. I said, do you want to play football or not? If you don't, then go ahead and do something else and fill up that roster spot because you're not getting paid that much anyway. Still, you don't have that motivation that Max has, that attitude that Max has. Well, nobody really does because Max goes to 110% every game. But still, come close to that. Give it, if you're not going to give 50%, give it 80% because you're not even giving 50% right now. So
there's two things. There's two things that caught my attention because there was stuff that just wasn't, it didn't feel right with Tyree. And I wasn't sure what it was. Was it the injury? And again, because I've played the game for a long time, I've coached it for a long time. There's things that stand out to me in game film. And there was one moment back in that 2023 season that it caught my eye. And if you remember, we played the Lions. We played the Lions in the 2023 season. That was the game that basically fired Josh McDaniels. And so we got our ass handed to us against the Lions, and Josh McDaniels was fired. But if you remember, Amik Robertson picked off the ball, and I can't remember if he ran it back for 6 or not, but he picked off the ball. And when you intercept the ball, when you have a turnover, what does the defense do right now? They all run to the opposite end zone and they do a whole photo op thing, right? The whole entire defensive team goes and gathers up in the opposite end zone and they all celebrate, right? Well, Amik Robertson picked off the football, started to run it back. The closest defender to Amik Robertson when he picked off the football was Tyree Wilson. The entire defense ran to that end zone and got together to get in front of the camera. And because I go look at the All-22. I watched the All-22 great film breakdown where it gives you that sky view, that eagle eye view. Mm-hmm. And Tyree Wilson was the only defender that didn't meet everybody in the end zone. Really? But yet he was the closest defender to Amik Robertson when he intercepted the football. So he could have met Amik Robertson, the first one, if he was excited, if he was pumped for that turnover, if he was excited for his teammate. He could have been the first defender next to Amik Robertson celebrating with him. And what did he do? He jogged towards him and he started to exit the football field.
I didn't even notice that. I'm glad you pointed that out.
And to me, that was the first moment I was like, holy shit, I don't know if this guy even is enjoying what he's doing. And then the second one was just this past offseason. If Tyree Wilson wants to improve his craft, if he wants to get better at what he's doing, I could care less what profession you're in. If there's big moments throughout the year that can make a massive difference in your performance, you put that on the calendar, right? I don't care what profession you're in. He didn't attend the SAC Summit this year. He didn't go to the SAC Summit where Max Crosby is, where Von Miller is, where I'm blanking on the guy's name, the edge rusher for the Saints. But you're gonna be able to perfect and improve your craft with some of the best pass rushers in the National Football League and guys prior.
Yeah.
And you didn't attend it. And I'm just sitting there going, I could care less if it's the off season. You have the entire off season to go do other things. Go get your personal time. Go get your family time. Go get your vacation time. That's fine. But that's one moment in the off season that you better circle that shit on your calendar to be like, if I want to get better, I'm going to be there. And he didn't attend it.
Exactly. That's why you go to school to learn a new skill. Like, you know what? I'm an engineer, but also want to be this type of engineer. So you go to school to learn some more. He didn't go attend none of those classes. He just say, "Yeah, I'm good as it is." And with that attitude, now I'm get a big contract. The whole team is gonna want you because you're not self motivated to be the best. Mo Max Crosby said every time he talks, "I want to be the best pass rusher in NFL. I want to make history." And he goes out there and tries it every single chance, hurt or not hurt. Tyree Wilson don't say anything like that. Because Max said, "Well, I'm working with Tyree Wilson." Yeah, but it hasn't shown for 3 years now, or 2 years, going on 3. Hasn't shown any progress in that. That means he's not motivated.
If you as an edge rusher can't develop a second or third move, that just tells me you're not trying to improve your craft. Like, that's it. Like, he literally has no second or third move, and that's what every good pass rusher, not even great, a good pass, like we're going to break down Jackson Bennett, I think his name is. So the outside linebacker / edge rusher that we just picked up off of waivers from the Rams. Yeah. We're going to break down his game film later this evening in the war room. Even that guy has a second pass rush move. Even that guy has a second and third move that he can go to.
No, I watched something and they highlighted him. I was watching some tape. He has a spin move, great spin move. Mm-hmm. He has a uppercut that gets the guys off him. So he has like 2 or 3 moves. And he's not a dedicated pass rusher. He's a linebacker / pass rusher. So wait a minute, you tell me his linebacker have more moves than a dedicated defensive end? You should be ashamed of that. But he's not. He's not motivated. I don't see the motivation in him. I say he did look better preseason, but like I said, against Region 4, yeah, of course he looked good. He was a man amongst boys again.
And he flashes in preseason. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple times where he had a good run stop, and I'll give him credit for it, right? Like, basically the offense kind of zone schemes away from him. The zone run scheme, it goes away. He does a good job. He basically shuffles down the line of scrimmage. Running back cuts back. He makes a tackle. So there are flashes in the preseason. But then look at the rest of the body of his game in preseason. There's plays where he's getting absolutely manhandled by a third string tackle. I mean, to where that tackle is getting underneath his shoulder pads, lifting him and driving him 7-8 yards down the field. And I'm just sitting there going, that's happening against a third string tackle. How the hell are you letting a third string tackle do that to you? So there were flashes in preseason, don't get me wrong. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, there's nothing that shows me that his game is improved or it's going to translate when he has to go against true starters in the National Football League. So at the end of the day, I think we all hope he does well. He's a Raider.
Yeah.
I want him to do extremely well. But man, if my confidence level, if we go from 1 to 10, 10 being the most confidence in the world that he's going to do well, I'm at like a 6, maybe even a 5. So
I don't wish anything bad on him. They want to trade him, do all that stuff about who will want to trade for him. My thing is like, when you're a key part, you're part of this defense. Show us something. Do something. I mean, one guy said in the chat, so Chargers will get about 8 sacks. I say, are you kidding me? If he gets 2 sacks, I'm happy. 3 sacks, I'm happy. Or, do something. Get some TFLs, tackles for losses. Do something to be part of this defensive rotation because defense line, as we spoke earlier, don't look bad. You got those pieces in there, but he's one of those cogs that need to spin. One of those cogs that spin to make the engine work. He's not making it work now. It's just stuck in one gear. So anyway, that's enough bashing Tyree Wilson for today.
Well, and I guess the last thing I'll say is if we take what his production was last year, which he had 4 sacks last year, go take a look at how he got those sacks. And Chris, like we break down the game film, I go through play by play by play. I look at one play 11 different times as I break down the game film. And go look at the way he got those sacks. 3 out of those 4 sacks, he was completely unblocked. Completely unblocked. Just free pathway to the quarterback. And only one out of those 4 sacks he actually worked for, and it was a pure just bull rush, and he got there. So to think that he's going to progress off of that, now I get it. Every pass rusher kind of sometimes gets a free shot at the quarterback, gets unblocked. I get it because the way you can scheme it, you can run stunts, you can twist. I get it. But a lot of them, 3 out of his 4 sacks, he was completely unblocked by missed assignments. There was one sack where they parted the sea. The guard and tackle basically split, and he was untouched and went and got the sack. So to say that he's going to progress off of the 4 sacks, don't take those 4 sacks like he earned those 4 sacks. He was unblocked at 3 out of the 4. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. Okay, next reminder is let you guys know that this is a Raider Nation Pillaging Show. We got a special guest, 805 Raider. Thanks for joining us. Also, let you guys know that reason why you see my co-host is that he's in the hospital with his wife, probably having a child or just taking precautions because they have contract. Well, I don't remember. I'm so old as a kid. What do they call that? Contracts? Was it?
Contractions.
Contraction. There you go. So it's been a while since I had a kid, so I don't remember those terms. So yes, exactly. So this is because he went to the hospital this morning. He texted me this morning. So, but thanks to 805 for coming in once again, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit notification for my channel, Chris4Raiders, and also 805 channel. Like I said, he does great on analysis. I love his shows. So, do you want to kick this horse down the road, or do we want to talk about secondary? We don't have to talk about secondary. We already know what's up.
Man, I'm an open book, man. Let me know. I'm game for whatever you want to talk about.
I think we touched on it. We didn't touch about the offense. We talked about Genty, people that won 1,600 yards and 15 touchdowns. Is that out of the question? What do you think? I mean, that's what they're saying.
Obviously, it's all predicated off the offensive line. I don't care what kind of running back you are, because I'm a big advocate for building the trenches. I think the success of a running back has a lot to do with how good your offensive line is. You look at that last preseason game. Was it the last one? Maybe the one before that. No, the one before that. 49er one. Genty, everybody was like, oh, Genty's kind of getting into it, right? But the thing is that I think it was 4 or 5 out of his 7 carries, he was untouched until the second level. He was untouched until 4 yards downfield. If you can do that for any running back, I could care less. You could put Zamir White back there, and Zamir White's gonna do a decent job.
We're gonna talk about him too in a minute, but yeah,
So I'm a big proponent, because here's the thing: the running back position is I say this. I see Jason in the chat, man. Good luck, brother.
There you go, brother.
Yeah, man. There's certain positions on the offense that I call complementary positions. The running back's one of them. If you don't have a good offensive line as a running back, good luck having success. I could care less how good you are, unless you're Derrick Henry.
Or Barry Sanders.
Or Barry Sanders. Yes, 100%. So, and same with the receiver. A receiver, you could be as good as you want to be, but if you have a quarterback that can't get you the football, you're going to have a rough season. And so there's certain positions that are complementary.
Right.
And the running back is one of them. So a lot of Genty's success is going to be predicated off of how good our offensive line is. Also, you could say a running back, you also need to have a good passing game for a running back to potentially have success. Because if you don't have a good passing game, then guess what? Defenses are just going to crowd the box.
Stack that box up. Yeah, exactly.
They're going to come at you.
Because I know the first game was Seattle, when Genty got, 3 carries, -1 yard. Oh, Genty's a bust. I'm like, geez Christ, guys. If you look at the game, the offensive line wasn't blocking. They didn't block for him at all. By the time Genty got the ball, this is already in the backfield. But then the second game, Genty's great now. He gets 600 yards. Okay, well, then because they had better blocking in that second game. If the line can't make holes or open up pathways for him to run, he's going to be able to run. I don't care if he can break tackles, you're still going to get tackled for a 2-yard gain. So if the line blocks for him, if the passing game is working, where the defense got to set back, that they might go deep. You can't put A in the box because we got that guy Thornton over there, and you got Brock Bowers over here. We can't, put A in the box. So that's where he probably get most of his runs from, when the defense backs off, when it's a threat that Geno Smith can go downfield.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And here's the thing. With Genty specifically, right? You pick him at number 6 overall. And when we picked Genty at number 6, I said, you better prioritize this offensive line. So let's hope this offensive line works out. And because if the existing offensive line does not work out, and Caleb Rogers doesn't work out, Charles Grant doesn't work out, then it's going to be a rough season. But you pick Genty knowing that he needs at number 6 with the intention that he's good enough to create his own plays, right? You want him to break tackles. One of the biggest things that I look for when I'm looking at running backs is how is their ability to make the first man miss. I want a running back that can make the first man miss, and not by just running him over and now you're falling for yards. I want him, like, if you remember Josh Jacobs, anytime that he could catch the edge, if it was him one-on-one with a linebacker or a corner, 9 times out of 10, he's gonna make that man miss.
Yeah, he wins, yeah.
And he doesn't make him miss by breaking an arm tackle and all of a sudden now he's just falling for a couple extra yards. He makes him miss, and now he's running for an extra 10, 15 yards. That's what you want at a running back. Their number one objective is to make the first man miss. In Genty, I think what is really going to be tough with his running style is in between the tackles, in the mess of everything, he welcomes contact. If you go watch his game film at Boise,
yeah,
he allows tacklers to bounce off of him in between the tackles. If you get him in open space, he's got good vision. He does a very good job of making guys miss. But in the meat of things, in between the tackles, he welcomes contact. He lets defenders get the majority of his body. So that's not going to work in the NFL. I'm sorry.
No.
It's not going to work. And so that's where I struggle with Genty. I'm because you're not going to be able to do it for 17 games.
And that will show his career. I think, look, you want a longer career than what the average running back career is like, was 3 to 4 years.
3 years.
At best. You'll be like Earl Campbell. You're gonna run people over, but your career is gonna end shortly. Yeah. So I don't want to sit there and then take on. Yeah, you might be strong. You look strong. You look strong as hell, but you don't want to run like that and absorb those hits because they will pile up. And in the season, you'll be so sore. You got to go to healing tanks to get better. Halfway through the season,
I'd like Genty to be a good part of this offense for the next 10 years, not the next 4. So that's where Genty needs to understand, and he said it when we broke down game film of that 49er game, that 49er preseason game where he basically, I don't care what anybody says, he lost that battle against that linebacker. When that linebacker can turn your ass backwards, you lost. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that with that type of contact, you want to attack half a man. You want to break arm tackles. When 2 defenders are coming your way, you're going to pick one and you're going to attack half a man. A lot of people kind of gave shit in the comments, basically saying, oh, no, this is football. You got to be tough, blah, 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 whatever. But that's the thing. And when I'd coach my players, as a running back, you want to attack half a man. And what did Genty say? We broke down that game film on Sunday. And when Genty addressed the presser on Monday, he said the exact same thing. He said, I have to do a better job of attacking half a man. And that's what you teach running backs. I could care less if you're Derrick Henry. You attack half a man because you want to break arm tackles. You don't want to go through the body of defenders unless it's 3rd and 1, unless it's 4th and 1 on the goal line. Okay, lower your helmet and go get somebody.
Yes,
but in open space.
He said at a press conference, he just said it, and I don't know if I'm the word from worry, but he said I got to make sure, they asked him about that linebacker hit when he had to go out in concussion protocol. He said, you know what? I got to pick my poison. Against a linebacker, I can't do that. D-backs, I'll probably get away with that. But against linebackers, is a little different. Yeah, this is not college no more. These linebackers are just as big and strong as you are. So he even said it. Yeah, I got to pick my poison. I can't go up like that against linebacker. No. So that's how you work.
And look, Genty is a strong runner. He's got a low center of gravity. He's only 5'8", right? But he's got a low center of gravity. He's 200 plus pounds. He can run through arm tackles. So imagine this. Everybody wanted to hop up and go, oh, man. Because I think that was Genty's welcome to the NFL moment. Like, you're not going to run through linebackers like you did in the Mountain West. But here's the thing. Imagine if Genty, and I'm not saying he can't do it. I think that he's going to do better at this. He tried to lower the boom on a linebacker and he lost. But imagine if Genty picked half a man on that specific play, ran through that arm tackle, and gained an extra 20, 25 yards on that little dump-off pass in the flats. The nation would have went nuts.
Yeah.
The nation would have been like, holy shit, there's our number one. That's our number 6 overall pick. Because he broke an open field tackle and he busted another 20, 25 yards. To me, that's 100 times more impressive than him trying to lower a boom on a linebacker and getting turned backwards. So I want to see more of that. I want to see him break that first tackle, make that first man miss, and turn contact after a 1 or 2 yard gain and turn into a 15-yard gain. That's what I want to see out of Genty.
And that was scary of watching Boise State. I said, gee, I'm scared that he's going to come in the NFL thinking he can do the same thing. And then all of a sudden, we get the 6th-round pick, 4th game in the season. Oh, he's out for the rest of the season. Because he took a hit that he didn't have to take. Yeah. He could have did something else. That's why I'm glad. Not glad it happened, but I'm glad, kind of, what I'm saying. I'm glad it happened in the preseason where he manned up like, shit, yeah, I can't do that no more. If I want to play for the NFL, no, I can't do that no more. So now he knows when he goes up with these guys, certain guys, the smaller DBs, yeah, he can do that because he's big, probably faster and stronger than him. So he can go ahead. Like he did that one guy on that 8-yard run he had. He just like manhandled him, then pushed him down. Yeah, he against those guys. But when it comes to linebackers, you got to be careful. You got to watch it. Like I said, half a man.
And Chris, that's a great point. I'm glad that he got out of the way in the preseason. And now he understands. He understands that, I'm sorry, a lot of people want to say, like, he's this stocky, big running back that's going to go and just run people over. Have you seen the size of linebackers? Like, everybody says that Jeremy Chinn's going to go and smack the piss out of people, right? Well, guess what? Jeremy Chinn's 6'3", 200 plus pounds. He's also going to be able to hit Genty as well. So NFL defenders are massive as well. So don't think Genty's going to come in here and just run people over at will. Defenders are big too.
You got linebackers that 6'4", 250 pounds. And Genty, what, 5'8" and 202, 211? Between those things? Yeah. So you're just going to run them over. And they in the gym too, pumping iron like you're pumping iron. So they're not weak. So I'm glad I got their way. So that's one thing I was scared of. When I saw that hit, I mean, it was a good collision. He got knocked back. I'm like, that's what I don't want to see.
Yeah.
So that's our number one running back. Now on the depth chart, they got your boy Seaver White in there.
Yep.
How you feel about
that? I've said in the past, and I broke down. I had a video that kind of broke down all the position groups, and this was when this was after the draft, and we knew that the 90 plus players that were entering training camp. And I said the only way that Zamir White was going to be able to make this squad is if he proved himself as a short yardage back, a guy that can kind of get dirty, pound the rock a little bit, and win in the short yardage battles. Now, never did I say he was going to do it. I didn't come out and say this is where he's going to find his place. I just said if he finds himself making the 53-man roster, I think this is where he's going to be able to make his mark is in that short yardage, just kind of pound the rock type of back. And he did it. That's kind of where he's finding his place. So I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see that he's kind of making his mark. Now, when I went to that open practice, it was the first open practice the Raiders had. And I'm sitting there, I'm in the stands, I'm watching, and the running backs were all rotating, getting fielding kickoffs. So they're fielding kickoffs, and when you field kickoffs, you kind of get that first 15 to 20 yard sprint upfield. And man, the first thing I thought when I saw, and we went live that same day, it was on a Tuesday. We went live that same exact day, and I was kind of breaking down some of the things that I saw at a training camp. I was like, damn, like Zamir looks fast. I didn't know he was that fast. And I said, like, that's crazy that doesn't transition to him being a decent running back. Now, speed isn't everything, but I just didn't realize that he was that fast. And then about a week or two later, the reports start coming out that he's slimmed down. He is looking a lot faster. And so to me, I think good for Zamir White. Good for him making some changes in the offseason. And now, because of Chip Kelly's offense, where you can see that we're really prioritizing a little bit of a power run scheme, I think it's better to what Zamir White is suited for. And again, I didn't say that he was going to – I didn't say this early on that he was going to be a good short yardage back. I felt like that was going to be his only way of making this team, is showing that he could be that. And he showed in the preseason. So shout out to him, and I think he might get himself maybe 3-4 carries a game and find himself as a benefit on this roster.
Yeah, because the Seattle game when they kicked off, I was like, wait a minute. They kicked off, and I saw number 3 out there. Wait, that's Zamir White running the kickback. He looked pretty good at that. He got to like the 36-yard line, 37. I'm like, because, new rules now dictates that they're going to need more running backs doing those kickoffs, because if the kicker kicks the ball in the end zone, it automatically goes to the 35-yard line. If it goes to the end zone, the touchback. So they're going to try to kick it in that kick box. So that gives the guys a better chance, better chance for the team to run it back. And running backs make better runners than wide receiver does, because they know how to avoid tackles, how to stiff arm stuff. Not saying wide receivers don't, but I think running backs, there can be more running backs doing it. Look at Henderson, what he did in the first game. That was crazy.
The biggest difference between the kickoff, how it was ran way back in the day, and the kickoff today, is that one of the reasons why running backs are better suited. It's like a Dylan Labe, right? If Dylan Labe is back there returning, being a running back, is that back in the day with the traditional kickoff rules, there was layers to the kickoff team coming out, right? Like you had your front line, then you had your second line, then you had your returners, right? There was layers to it. And so you wanted guys back there that kind of had a little more agility. Now, because you're all in one line,
yeah,
you just need a guy that's back there that has the vision to understand where that first cut needs to be, break one arm tackle, and you might be off to the races.
Right.
Whereas, again, with that traditional kickoff, there was layers to that kickoff return. You had safeties that would sit back to basically be that last line of defense just in case someone popped off and someone was able to kind of break that front line or what have you. And so now with the way it's set up now, it's more, I guess, catered to the running back, to where you got to have that vision to understand where that running lane is, but you also need that ability. Just break that one or two arm tackles and you're off to the races, where running backs are more geared towards that, where receivers, not so much, a little more light, a little more lightweight, and you may not be able to break that arm tackle. And so, just the new kickoff rule, man, like you just got to break that initial front line.
That first line, yeah. It's the same thing.
Off the races.
When they play in offense, once they break that first line, getting that second line or that second defense, they're gone. Because, the smaller guys, well, that's right, it's all on one line. So once they break that line, they're gone.
Because back in the day, the way that kickoffs, because you had such a long way to go from where you start to where that for that initial contact's going to be, you would basically try to pin a returner to one side, and then whatever kick return team is on the opposite, you got 2-3 guys that are basically running over to kind of be that safety blanket, right? So there was layers to a kickoff return.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the layers are gone.
Yeah, it's just one line.
Yeah.
It's like offensive line, the offensive line setup. Like this is defensive line, that's what he set up. So you got that running back who can make cuts, break tackles. It's dangerous.
It is. That's why you'll see more running backs kind of returning kickoffs, here and there. So
okay. Well, I appreciate. I do have to do something today. Family business. Yeah. My wife told me I'm only gonna be on the show like a couple hours. Okay, so it's at that point I'm gonna get the phone call in a minute. Where yeah, we gotta do this. So
hey, family first.
Yeah, I hate to leave the room. I got 33 people in the room. I appreciate you guys coming and joining me. And ready for the season with 805 Raider?
Yeah.
Any thoughts or any last thoughts? Oh, your show's tonight at what time?
We're gonna go live around 7-ish, 6:37. So we're gonna break down game film of the offensive tackle foresight that we brought in. So we're going to break down game film of him, and we're also going to break down game film of the new outside linebacker / edge rusher that we brought in as well. So we'll break down the game film, talk a little bit about the upcoming game this week 1. But, the one thing I'll end it with is...
Wait, hold on. Oh, Jeff wants to do an 8-hour marathon show right now.
Oh, shit. Of course he does.
Well,
of course he does.
You
know what, Jeff, I promised you that I got to try to jump on with you. I got about another hour and a half left, man. Jeff, if you want to set up a live, I'll jump on with you the next hour and a half.
Jeff. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to go. My wife's all right. She already texted me right now and said, "What time we finish?" Well, I got to go.
So, Jeff, you let me know because I got I got some more beers to finish. You just shoot me a link, man, and I'll definitely jump on with you. I'll leave it with this: this game one against the Patriots is going to be all about adjustments. This is going to be all about who coaches better than the other. Point blank, period. Because it is as close to an even match as possible. All brand new head coaches, all brand new coordinators. You got Geno Smith as a veteran, Drake May, second-year quarterback. We'll see how kind of that works out. A lot of change of pieces. The Patriots brought on a lot of new pieces, right? We brought on a lot of new pieces. This is as even of a match as you can imagine.
And a lot of great storylines, too, behind all this, too.
A lot. And so, at the end of the day, this is going to be all about who prepares their team best for the moment, and who is going to be better at in-game adjustments. And so this is a battle of the coaching staffs. This isn't necessarily a battle of the players. As much as they're on the field and they're going to be the ones battling out, I 100% agree. But this is going to be all about who better prepared their team for the moment and who is going to better prepare and be better at the adjustments in-game. In my opinion.
Give me a minute, Cliff. I'm gonna call Wednesday. I got to drink another beer with you, man. That was a good point. So it's not gonna end right now because I'm drinking another beer. Jeff just pissed me off.
Oh, shit.
Let me get another beer. I might have another beer with you. I enjoy this. Yeah, I think it's gonna be about the coaching adjustments. What they're gonna do? What the because we're pretty much like it's even Steven. The only thing, there's a few differences, and between the players we got and the players they got. But it's basically the same thing. New system, new coaches. They got a good running back. They got our linebacker, and our one of our safeties. They got no,
no, they cut Marcus Epps.
Yeah, they cut Epps. Yeah, they cut the Epps.
They moved on from him.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a battle of the coaches more than the players.
It is, to be dead honest with you. Like that's the hard part. I'll give you guys a little bit I'll give you guys a little bit of background of myself, right? Like, so I was mainly a defensive coordinator. I did coach offense. I was offensive coordinator for 6 years, but out of my 23 years of coaching this game, I started my career. I'm gonna crack open a new one with you, man. I started at the youth level because I started coaching the youth level when I was actually coaching in high school, because my youngest brother was playing youth. So I'd literally walk from my high school practice to walk down to help my dad coach my youngest brother in youth football. But then I moved to the high school level, and then I coached in both California and Texas. And so majority of the time I was a defensive coordinator, but I did coach 6 years as OC as well. So I was defensive coordinator the majority of my years. The very first game was always a little bit difficult for me, and I had to kind of get out of that. I had to get out of that. I don't know what you want to call it. My first 6-7 years of coaching, there was teams that would kind of put up points on me a little bit. And the biggest thing about that first game is you don't have the game film to go off of. You don't know what these coaches are going to do. You don't know what Josh McDaniels wants to do with Drake May, because it's the first year. You have no game film on it. You don't know what Josh McDaniels wants to do with that backfield between Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson. You don't know what he's going to do with Stephon Diggs. And they don't know what Chip Kelly's going to do with Geno. And so it's all about in-game adjustments. It's all about what that second half is going to bring. And I think that's the hardest part. Is for me, I had to kind of get out of that just stink of that first game. That offense would put up 21 to 24 points on me my first handful of years coaching as a defensive coordinator, because I needed to get better at in-game adjustments. As my time went on, I did much better, but that's what I had to kind of work on. And it's because you don't have that game film. I'll be dead honest. If there's anybody, like one of the guys that gets in my chat, LA Raider, he's a guy from my hometown. He knows how much I've coached back in my hometown. You got a lot of the guys that I coached with back in the day, not only in California but in Texas. Don't let me get on some game film. If you give me a couple games of game film, I'm gonna find your tendency. I'm gonna figure out what you give me on that game film. One of the things that that taught me a very valuable lesson back in the day was I noticed that he was the right tackle. The right tackle, every time he would dig his right foot just a little bit. I swear to you, he would get in his stance and he'd tweak his right heel just a little bit. It was always run. Always. And so what I did was I caught it on the game film. And so I would tell my left defensive end, watch his heel. If he twitches his heel, we would have a rhino call, which was R for run. It was a rhino call, rhino. And every single time it was a run. And so the thing is that give me game film and I'm going to find out your tendency. But that's the hard part about game one. Game one, you don't know, especially if it's a brand new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, brand new coaching staff, brand new personnel. It's very tough. And so this first game is going to be all about the coaching staffs. And we got good coaches. Mike Vrabel, good coach.
Good coach. I want him. For Pete Carroll. I said, let's get Vrabel. But out on the last game of the Patriots season, when they fired Mayo, there's Vrabel. He's gone already.
Yeah.
We know it's going to happen.
Josh McDaniels, they say good offensive coordinator. I think he was more about Tom Brady, but neither here nor there. But Josh McDaniels, good OC. So we have our side, good head coach out of Pete Carroll, good offensive coordinator with Chip Kelly. It's going to be all about the in-game adjustments. And this is really going to give us a really good understanding as to what coaching staff prepared their team better. I'll tell you right now, one of the tells that I broke down on our game film just in the preseason, Tyree Wilson's stance. when Tyree Wilson is going to twist and stunt, his stance is very different than when he's going to bull rush. And that's a tell. Rob Leonard needs to fix it. Tyree Wilson needs to fix it. So we're gonna get a better understanding as to how good these coaching staffs really are.
Yeah, like they're saying, well, Drake May, we can go back and watch that film last year. Well, that was last year. That was a different offensive coordinator. That was different coaching staff. Everything is different now. They got new guys like we have new guys. So we can't rely on last year's film. We can see what he does when he does certain things, but we don't know how they're gonna run the offense. We have no idea what they got to do. People got to watch it and prepare. Because I'll go back to that game 1 preseason game. The offensive line, everything looked bad. Second game totally improved. He coached him up. Okay, we're not doing this. We're not doing that. Let's do this and that. So last year when he had AP, didn't know how to make adjustments. He didn't know how to change things. But we have an experienced coach that can, you know what, guys, you guys suck doing this. Why don't you do it this way? Maybe won't nobody say that, but you know what I mean. Hey, what's up, Cool Kev? You know, so it comes to adjustments. You know what? This player is not working out. We're gonna switch it up. That's what Pete Carroll would do. It'd probably be Babel too. So we don't know. This game's a mystery. That's why the point spread is only 2.5. It's a toss up. Literal toss up.
I don't know what the over under is.
I know the spread is 2.5. It dropped. It was 3.5. It dropped down. It's going to drop some more as we get closer to the game, but it was 2.5 as of yesterday.
Again, I don't know what the over/under is because I expect a low-scoring battle. In all honesty, for all the points that we kind of talked about earlier, is I do think both offensive coordinators are going to rely on controlling the clock. They're going to utilize that run game because both, again, on our side we got Ashton Genty. Genty is going to be used 25 to 27 times a game. I hope that's my hope, which means you're going to control the clock. And then you look at the Patriots side. Josh McDaniels likes to run the football.
Yeah, he does.
And so he's going to utilize Travion Merrick. He's going to utilize. Oh, Jeff, all right, you're all right. You got the over under 4. See, that's a low scoring game.
Yeah, 21-21. That's not a high scoring, not a powerhouse game. So,
it could be a 17-20 game. You know, so the thing is that for myself is that Josh McDaniels is going to utilize Travion Henderson. He's going to utilize Ramondre Stevenson, and they're going to pound the rock a little bit because one of the hardest things to do in football is for the chemistry between quarterback and receiver to be on point to start the season. And so I think they're going to lean a lot on the running game, both sides. So I think it's going to be a low-scoring battle. But, man, that second half is going to tell us a lot. And I want to see this second half adjustment really determine who's going to outcoach who. That's going to be the fun part.
Your beer buddy asked the question. We were talking about that earlier, but if you want to answer this question, I think it was in the chat. He asked you to pick up Jarrell Peppers, so I'll let you go with that.
I think, we talked about it earlier, but Jack, for me, it's if we do pick him up, I think it's depth, but I also think that the depth that we currently have it doesn't really emulate what our starters do, right? A Jamal Adams, a Jeremy Chin, everybody that's behind Jamal Adams and Jeremy Chin, more box style safeties. Obviously, Jamal Adams is more of a linebacker or being utilized as that role. I think because of Patrick Graham's history with Jabril Peppers, it makes sense to bring him in because he can emulate with what some of our starters can do. If he steps on the football field, I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have. Like that, he was cut from the Patriots. He's purely a backup. It allows you to run the same defensive scheme that you've ran before. But does he move the needle? I really don't think so. So it makes sense if we brought him in, but I'm not excited about the pickup.
Please be careful not to broadcast our players' tendency because people are watching. Good point, but we don't know what they're gonna do. Big say, Watch may he sneak in a few runs himself. Yeah, so Geno Smith. So he's not not a slow quarterback. He's not a running quarterback, but if he need to run, he can't run. He did that before in the past. So yeah, that was funny.
I will say with that comment, Chris, like the general.
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving us that much clout to think that people are actually listening. So
yeah, no, that's funny. I see. Yeah, we know ins and outs
Appreciate
about the Raiders. We're in the building right now on our side offices, man. While the Raiders out there practicing, so we know it ins and outs.
I know.
That's great. Thanks for the comment, bro. Appreciate it. Oh, well. So, yeah, bro. Yeah, like I said, the game's a toss-up. I mean, 2.5 points is nothing. That's less than a field goal.
That's
So,
a toss-up. It's going to be a close game, but at the end of the day, it's going to be very interesting to see just kind of how our rotational pieces kind of work out this game, right? A lot of people are high on Thomas Booker, the defensive lineman that we brought in.
Yeah.
Thinking that he's going to play somewhat of an impact. We did a film breakdown on him as well. Unfortunately for myself, I think he is at best a rotational piece. He's got a good motor. He's not going to get pushed backwards, man. He's a strong body. But at the end of the day, I think he's rotational. He does not do well against the zone run scheme. If you run power run scheme against him, he does a pretty good job. Zone run scheme, he doesn't have the agility, he doesn't have the footwork to keep up with the lineman moving, and it showed on game film. He doesn't read the zone run scheme well. He doesn't get his body in the right placement. He doesn't flow well with the offensive line because his feet aren't very quick at the snap. So I think he's a liability if we go against a team that likes to run the zone scheme. So again, good rotational piece. I think so. Even with the pass rush, he's very one-dimensional. He's got a bull rush, and that is about it. The moment he gets stalemated, he kind of he's going to get he's not effective.
Right. That's what I think. That's what I think they got a lot of defense tackles because each one possesses a certain unique skill. Because like I said, we were talking about Henry earlier. He has quick feet. He can move. He can run around. So does Pegues. Booker is more like that. Third down and 2 go. Third down 2, they're gonna run the ball. More like that type of guy. But pass rushing, I don't see it. That's why he brought that other guy from the Rams. I forgot his name already. For him to help pass rush. Yeah.
Jackson Bennett, I think his name is.
Jackson Bennett, yeah. Yeah, that's probably why he brought him in. Let's see, for pass rushing.
But I think there's a true rotational piece to it because you got Leaky Fotu. He's a big body that could play in the middle. Now, I meant to break down his game film earlier, but so much news started flying when we brought him in. I actually have his game film. Here's the thing. What's really tough about Leaky Fotu is he's hit or miss. There's some times where he looks damn good, then there's some times where he gets manhandled. And that's why I think the Cardinals moved on from him. So, it really depends on which Leaky Fotu do we get at that time.
All right.
So I think next to Adam Butler, there's going to be a very healthy rotation. We're probably going to see a lot of JJ Pegues, a lot of Leaky Fotu, a lot of Booker. It's just going to be a healthy rotation. Now, here's the thing. The benefit of that is you don't rotate offensive linemen. So if you can get a good rotation next to Adam Butler, you're going to get a lot of fresh bodies going against an offensive lineman that potentially has been playing the entire football game.
Yeah.
That maybe can help you with just having, just some consistency with the defensive player that plays next to.
I like the rotation they got. Because last year we had that rotation really that deep. This are they going to bring in fresh bodies as the game go on at different skill sets. If it's a third down, third down at 15-20, consistent say they're going to pass. So you put your best pass rushers in that defensive line. If it's third down and short, you bringing your best run stoppers on a defensive line. So they got choices now. What they can do, how they gonna run a defense, which I like. Last year we had nothing. We had Chris Wilkins, that was it. But Adam Butler, of course, we had Adam Butler, your favorite. But, other than that, we didn't have that much rotation, on the defensive line.
Yeah. So that's what I hope that this rotation brings on the defensive line is you're bringing fresh bodies. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you can kind of look at it as either a boxer's mentality or a MMA mentality, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if there's an MMA guy or a boxer that has to fight the entire all the rounds, but you can bring someone fresh every single round. That's something that this Patrick Graham, Robbie Leonard, you can get a solid rotation in there.
Yeah.
So,
because what's the main focus of the offense? Run, wear the defense down. Run, wear defense down. Where defense they're tired. They can't pass rush. They can't do anything. We can just run over them. So we keep rotating the bodies. Give the guy a breather. They give him a chance to okay, I'm ready to go back in. The rotation I like. Because last year our biggest problem was we didn't have a ball control offense. So defense go out there. Okay, stop them. They punt it. We got the ball back. Defense go on the sidelines. As soon as they sit down, drink their Gatorade, what they drink, all right, guys, you're up. We just sat down. We can't watch the tape or anything. And then they get tired. They get tired quicker because we didn't have no rotation. Now we do. But, that's what I like about this, what they did in the offseason and the draft. They got rotational guys.
They do have rotational guys. And here's the thing is, I don't know if I could share the screen. I'll have some fun.
Just pull it up. I'll pull it up.
We're going to have some fun. So it's tough because let's see if I can and I'll do it real quick because I don't want YouTube to mess around with it.
Okay.
This is what you might get a leaky photo, right? So he's down here. He's right here, right over the center. You might get this at a leaky photo, and you see this quite a bit on the film. Is watch him. And I'm only going to show just a little bit because I don't want YouTube to get pissed off. Is watch him. He kind of just gets pushed out the way. Really no effort, really no move to kind of get the hands off of him. And he just kind of gets moved down the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's kind of what you see out of him. Now, he shows flashes, and I'll stop sharing.
Okay.
Again, I don't want YouTube to mess with us. You show some flashes in the game film, but also consistently what you see is he gets washed down very easily. And at 6'5", 300+ pounds, man, you would just hope that he would have just a better push, a better ability to maintain the line of scrimmage. So if he's the starter next to Adam Butler, man, I hope we get a good rotation going.
Yeah, because that's it. That's on the run play, right?
Yep.
I'm just worried about when they do passing because can he get in the backfield? I see other guys think he can do better getting in the backfield than he can. I mean, he's a big dude. He probably can stuff the line when they run between the guards. But if they run outside pockets and stuff like that, the film just show like, yeah, you got to do better than that. You got to break that and get in the backfield to disrupt that outside run. He didn't do that. But
he didn't do that. And there's a lot of times where, honestly, the effort's not there. There's also plenty of times where the effort's not there and he takes the easy way out. Sometimes you see that with offensive linemen. I saw that with Thomas Booker a lot. Because Thomas Booker, sometimes he's a little bit lazy once that lineman gets position on him and he doesn't fight his way through it.
He just gives up, huh?
And he takes the easy path, which is horrible in the zone run scheme because it creates distance. It creates distance between you and your next defender, and it creates running lanes. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part about offensive linemen D linemen that just don't have that motor. Unfortunately. So man, I just hope we have a really good rotation on the defensive line, and we keep guys fresh. If you can beat up on an offensive lineman that's played the entire game,
they gonna get tired just as quick as you do.
They don't get tired.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. But like I said, it's gonna be a battle of the coaches this game. Maybe the third, fourth game, then you'll see your stars starting to shine more. You see the offense picking it up and doing what they can do best. Defense same way. But this game is so evenly matched that the coaches got to make the game. They got to make the right decision. And I'm glad we got a coach that can make a decision and make adjustments. No knock on AP. This is his first year. But the thing with AP, he didn't come up the ranks. He just came a linebacker coach to head coach. He didn't come up the ranks. So he didn't have the mentality to be a coach. We got one who's been a coach for, 50 years, I guess. I don't know how long he's been a coach, but he's been a coach for a while.
And it's funny when we talked about AP. We can talk about AP for a second. We'd have fun with it.
Go ahead.
When it came to AP, what was really tough was I did a video because a lot of people were talking about Jim Harbaugh and AP. Now Jim Harbaugh didn't even come for an interview, so I don't even know if that was even an option. But with AP, if we wanted to bring on AP, I posted a video on my channel, basically the good, the bad, the ugly. That was kind of the title of it. Because there's the good, the bad, the ugly with Antonio Pierce. The good, players coach. The good, he was going to come in and have that Raider mentality, which we always loved. The bad is that he had zero experience. He was going to be raw. You had to be patient with him. The ugly is that he was going to get outcoached throughout the season. He was going to. It's point blank period. Like, you've never been a head coach before. And a lot of people compared him to Dan Campbell. The steps that Dan Campbell took to be a head coach was very different from AP. Dan Campbell was an assistant head coach to Sean Payton.
Yeah.
He was an interim head coach in Miami. Like, he had some experience, and he went through the process of being a head coach properly. Whereas AP was just kind of given the job because I honestly think Mark Davis had some regret with Rich Bisaccia because of the way the McDaniels situation played out. And so he wanted to give AP maybe a little bit of a chance because, man, that last Chargers game where we put up 63 points, I don't know how that fan base went nuts.
He saw the pitchforks and the torches at the gate. He's like, I better make that decision again. Yeah. So,
but if we were to bring on AP, you had to be patient, and it was the worst thing that could have happened to AP with all the injuries that happened that year. It was the worst thing that could have happened to AP. And I'm not saying AP would have been a good head coach. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that I think AP just got dealt a shitty hand with all the injuries that he went through to start that season. You start the season with Colton Miller basically not having an off season. You're starting not even starting two rookies. You started DJ Glaze, a rookie. JPJ took 3 games to even kind of step foot on the season. You had injuries left and right in the quarterback room. You had the issues with Devonta Adams.
Yeah, all that.
It sucked.
Yeah, but on top of that, I don't think him and Telesco's on the same page anyway. Because Telesco wanted to hire his own coach, but they allowed him to know this is a coach. You just come being GM, so I don't think Telesco didn't like that.
Yeah,
he's gonna bring his own guys in. So I don't think they're on the same page. Like these guys are, like Spytek and Carroll. They're on the same page.
I agree, and I also think, man, I just don't know if AP was given kind of a different outlook because I don't think we ever knew what AP's actual contract was, and so I I don't know if AP thought he had time, even Tom Telesco.
Telesco
And
did. Telesco thought he had time. I don't think AP
yeah,
thought he did, but I think Telesco thought, he even said, like, I thought I'll be here for a few years. It didn't work out that way. But
I know. Oh man, we're gonna do a deeper dive. Let's do this because I had 2 cups of coffee, 2 beers. Let me go use the restroom real quick. And I'm gonna come
absolutely,
back
dude.
and we're gonna keep talking because this is a good topic, man.
Okay.
I'll be right back. You say what's up to the chat, man. I'll be right back.
Great. Hey, so listen, I know the chat a little bit. See, Pigs. Yeah, you know what, Pigs? We were talking about that earlier. I don't know if you're in the chat. I want to see him too. He look a little better in that third preseason game than the second one. I think, like we were saying, that he just worried that he wants to play football this year. He didn't want to re-injured or get injured again because you get that back in your mind. I never had ACL tear or anything. I never had a broken bone in my body. Knock on wood. But when you had that happen to you, you kind of think like, in the back of your mind, you don't think about it, but it's back in your mind. You don't know you're thinking about it. See who else in there. No, Horace, be quiet. Whatever. Andre James but he wasn't good at line caller. Maybe he got pushed around like Pigs, but he wasn't good. He was better at calling the offensive line assignments than JBJ was. I'll tell you that. Although he got pushed around, you know. Let's see. Jerome Montgomery. Hey, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. Who's our starting cornerbacks? Right now they got Stokes on one side and they got Porter on the other side. As it stands right now, it could change anytime. That could change like tomorrow morning, what we know. Okay, Frank Weber, what's on the barbecue this weekend? Well, you know I got to do my ribs, get some chicken, and maybe some shrimp skewers. Like always.
Can't go wrong with shrimp.
Nope.
That's for damn sure. I'm a big barbecue guy, Chris. I'm big. When I stopped coaching, I brought my barbecue habit back. And my wife, it's funny. My wife had her own like collection habit. So
Yours
she collects.
too, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh man, I'm telling you.
Everything.
I'm telling you. But that allowed me to bring back my barbecue habit, and man, she would make fun of me because I would have so many barbecues. But I have barbecues for different situations, and so
Look
yeah,
at them. I'll barbecue. They say summertime is barbecue season time. Look, I'll barbecue in the snow, and I have done that before, so it doesn't matter to me. I like that grill. I have taste for it like last night. I grilled some filet chicken, marinara chicken last night. Why? Because I just wanted to. I just love barbecue.
I barbecued when I lived in Texas, and it would be December in Texas, and it's snowing out a little bit. Oh no, you bet your ass I'm going back out there, and I'm gonna barbecue a little bit. I'm gonna have some fun. But yeah, I brought my barbecuing habit back when I stopped coaching football, and but here's the thing. Nothing is better than rocking out. I got my offset, but I also have my 2 Weber kettles, that I'll basically rock at the same exact time with the charcoal. I do have a pellet grill.
I don't like those too much. I tried one. My buddy had one. I mean, it's easy to me. Barbecue is a job. When you barbecue, you have to put the work in. You got to make sure the coals are right. The pellets, because you set the temperature, put the pellets in, and walk away. Like, no, that's not barbecue. That's basically putting it in the oven. Me, I got an offset grill. I got a barrel grill. I got a gas grill, and I got a small Weber. You got to put charcoal in. You got to light it. You get frustrated when it ain't hot enough. You got to put more coals in or more wood. That's when you know you're barbecuing. Pellets, they're cheap. They're cheap.
I'm 100% with you. Like, I got my offset stick burner. So I got a stick burner. I got my Weber kettles. I got a 26-inch Weber kettle as well as a 22. For the smaller cooks. But I do have a pellet grill. But the only time I'll use the pellet grill is if I got my family over I got a big family on my side, and
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to basically hang out with the family, but also cook at the
Entertain
same time. You know what I'm
and
saying?
cook. Yeah, I got you. Entertain and cook.
Because the pellet grill's a set and forget it. I don't care what anybody says. It's
Yeah,
a
it
set and
is.
forget it. But that's the only time and that's only if I'm doing large. Like if I'm doing if I'm doing like 8 racks of ribs or 9 racks of ribs, and I got a bunch of family over and stuff like that, then all right, like they know what I
Yeah.
do.
You know what? That's a good point. That's good for that because it's your family and your friends over. They want to talk to you. You want to shoot the stuff, and you can't watch the grill and talk to them at the same time because it's not gonna work. But yeah, that's a good point. But I don't
That's
need
the
to
only
worry
time
about
I
that
use it. That's the only time I use
because
it, man. But if I
when people
know,
know people know when they come to my house and I'm barbecuing, they say, "Where's Chris? He's in the back barbecuing." Like, they don't even talk to me. They're like, "Well, leave him alone." Because they know they mess with me. I was talking to girl real quick. I'm sitting down.
you know what I'm saying? So, for me, trust me, they ain't nothing better than charcoal or a stick burner. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing better.
No.
So, and it's a science. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
If you're going to
Thanks,
produce
here.
good barbecue, there's definitely a science to it.
And I tell people, they say, we barbecue chicken. I said, how you barbecue? I thought my buddy this. I said, you're going to barbecue chicken. You're going to experiment. And it's going to take you time to learn the temperature of the coals or the wood, whatever you use. The best piece of meat to barbecue is not a breast, not a leg. It's a thigh. The thigh is the hardest piece of meat to barbecue because that thigh, it'll look good. It'll look good on the first layer, but you get on the middle, it gets red and red and redder. That's it. Once you master that, you got it.
And I'm sorry, I make sure that I overnight a marinade with my if I do chicken thighs, I will marinate it overnight. If I can't do it overnight, I don't do it. So I marinate the crap the chicken. So that's just the way I do.
I would think less of you did because I do the same thing. I do the ribs and everything. I put overnight. That's why I go to the store and in another 20 minutes, the show will come banging on my door. Go get the meat because I'm doing the barbecue tomorrow morning. I'm gonna do something tonight, do tomorrow morning. But I can't just put salt, pepper, and throw on the grill. That's a hamburger. But
true
ribs, chicken, stuff like that. Even shrimp, I season the shrimp and put on a skewer and let it season overnight. So it's a method to the madness. But the faces you see when people eat your barbecue is priceless.
So week two, myself, Severe, Chris from Protect the Shield, we're all going to be out here week 2 home opener. And on Saturday night, I told them boys, I was like, hey, we're going to come. They're going to come into town. The Canelo fight's going on. We're actually going to go to.
That same weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
And so we're going to go to Turf Spot. So Turf, he's got a condo out here in the Vegas area. And we're gonna go there. We're just gonna hang out at Turf Spot to watch the game. And I told them, I'm like, hey, I'm barbecuing. I'm bringing one of my barbecues, and we go on barbecue. We're gonna have a good time for that Saturday night before everything pops off. Sunday's gonna go crazy. Obviously, Monday night the home opener. But I was like, hey, I'm a barbecue, and we're gonna have some fun. And so you guys will hear about the barbecue because we're gonna do it right. But man, talking about AP.
Let's do it.
Here's my thing, man. In chat, we're kind of going back in the day. We just talked about the Patriots game. We talked about the position groups, all that stuff. I honestly think AP had 2 choices. Or there was 2 options with AP. Antonio Pierce had to make the playoffs. If he didn't make the playoffs, I think he was gone. Because I think Mark Davis knew that with what happened with Josh McDaniels, if you bring in a brand new head coach, if you don't take the interim head coach on, right? AP did not take the proper steps to becoming a head coach. So, in my opinion, if Mark Davis knew if you bring on Antonio Pierce, you could walk away from him after this year or that first year. If he didn't make the playoffs, You move on, and you know that Tom Brady is going to become part owner. I think he was going to lean on Tom Brady to what that next step was going to be, and we saw it. Antonio Pierce didn't make the playoffs.
Didn't get close to it.
So you move on from him, because if you didn't bring on Antonio Pierce, you would have to hire a brand new head coach that you lock yourself in to a 3-year minimum deal with that head coach. You're locked in. I think they were waiting for Ben Johnson, in my opinion.
Yeah, I knew they were. And I don't think Ben Johnson had any intent on coming here because, one, didn't have a quarterback, and he's in the Raiders dysfunctional because we went to Chicago, right?
Yep.
They had Caleb Williams, a brand new rookie quarterback. He probably work and mold. We didn't have that. We had AOC, yeah, but AOC is a 1980s quarterback, the pocket quarterback. He's not one of those guys. So I don't think he was coming here. And people talk about we should have got Harbaugh originally. Remember this. Harbaugh said the team he want to go to before he signed with the Chargers. He said he want to go to Chicago Bears to be the head coach. He said nothing about the Raiders. He didn't even come here for an interview. He didn't answer the phone when they probably called him. You're like, man, I'm not going there. He already had his mind made up where he's going. He went to Chicago, or I think it was another team, I forgot. But he went to the Chargers because they got everything in place. They already got their quarterback, and the defense was decent, was good. They got Khalil Mack and Bosa at the time and all that stuff. So he didn't have to do a whole lot to get his team winning again. Coming to the Raiders, you have to do a hell of a lot. Because all you had was Max Crosby, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Colton Miller. That's a good start, but you got to build up. Yeah, no good quarterbacks play. We had no running back play because the idiot got rid of Josh Jacobs. So we had to build a whole thing, go from scratch again. Some coaches don't want to come and do that. Some coaches take that challenge and do it, especially in college. They do it all the time. High school, same thing. But in the professional league, your coaching years are not guaranteed to last more than 2 or 3 years if you don't get a team turned around. Because they expect overnight sensation. They expect, our team was 2-15 last year. We want to go playoffs next year. Well, what you got, what's not going to happen in these 2 years? You got 1 year. That's it. That's one of your options. So a lot of head coaches are like, I'm not going there to put this on my resume and I'll go to a bad team and make it worse. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll wait.
And here's the thing: is that I understand a lot of people have talked about Tom Brady's going to bring us a championship. I'm really curious because if you look at that situation with Antonio Pierce and Ben Johnson, I'd love to hear what the chat has to say. But question is, what has Tom Brady done so far that has got us closer to a championship or in the steps of becoming a championship team? Like, in my opinion, he's done nothing.
Not yet. I don't see anything. I see them making better football decisions because I think Mark Davis decided, like, yeah, you know what? I'm not good at football. He admitted it on camera, admitted everything. He brought football mindset because it's Tom Brady. Don't forget, Richard Seymour's there too as part owner. So he let those guys make football decisions. And for right now, this year, we can't pass judgment yet until we see an actual improvement on who they bring in, what they do, and how they play. So I can't pass judgment because he can't be the owner right after the season ends. So,
because here's the thing, right? Like, we rolled the red carpet open for Ben Johnson. We got rid of Antonio Pierce. You even got rid of Tom Telesco. And here's the thing. Tom Telesco, the moves that he made, he wasn't a bad GM.
He wasn't. I agree.
He nailed his first 3 draft picks. You can argue the later rounds, and look, that's kind of been his MO. But he brought in, at the time, not now, obviously we all know what's going on, but you brought in Christian Wilkins, right? And everybody was excited about it. I don't care who you are. Everybody was
Yeah,
excited about it. Didn't work out great, but you're excited about it. But you get rid of Tom Telesco, that probably had one of the better drafts that we've ever seen in our recent years.
right.
You roll out the red carpet for Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson's like, oh, I'll respect Tom Brady, give him an interview, but then bang, I'm out. I go to Chicago, which Chicago is not a good organization.
No, it's not.
Chicago has been a joke organization for many years. So he goes there. And then there was all the talks of Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford running into each other at a ski resort, trying to work something out. Sure shit didn't work out, and Matthew Stafford just used us as a negotiation ploy.
Get more money. Yeah.
Get more money. And then we end up with Geno Smith, and the only person that has a relationship with Geno Smith is Pete Carroll.
Yeah.
So,
it's a funny thing that happened that day when they brought talks about, because we was on, some people was about Sam Darnold. Well, yeah, no, I don't know, because Sam Darnold played for a system that made every quarterback look good. They make Kirk Cousins like a Hall of Famer when he was there. They made, okay, well, let's see who he does second year. He might be good. I don't know. But he said Sam Darnold. No, when they were talking about Sam Darnold, Gene Smith said, I want a contract. They said, nah, we're going to move this different direction. We're going to pay you less. As soon as that happened, he said, I want to trade. Yeah, a couple days later, all of a sudden, he's on the Raiders. Pete Carroll said, no, we get Geno Smith. I know this guy. I know what he does. I know what he's capable of. We need him. And they went and got him. And everybody said, why he traded a third-round pick? Well, hell, we lost the third-round pick. That was the Devontae Adams pick, right? Trade for the Jets. Okay? Then we go on the draft and we get a third-round pick from the fifth and got a better third-round pick, a higher pick. So, we didn't really lose anything. But we got a veteran quarterback now. Because you think AOC or what's the name, Gardner Minshew going to take us to the playoffs? No. Backups at best. They're not starting quality quarterbacks. AOC, I don't think will be a starter in this league. I think he'll be a backup in this league.
And look, at the end of the day, Ben Johnson prioritized the quarterback than Tom Brady. So, again, it's trying to think that Tom Brady is going to bring a championship here. He is going to bring financial stability here. He's going to bring his financial asset, like his connections here, in my opinion. I don't know how much of a stamp he's going to make when it comes to the actual roster. Everybody wants to think he's going to, but I just don't see it potentially happening because it hasn't happened thus far.
Right quick, why you say that? You know what killed me earlier when Tom Brady was approved for the ownership of the part ownership part ownership of the Raiders? You know what killed me? Oh, Brady's coming to sabotage the Raiders. Why would you say that? Dude took his own money out of his pocket to invest in the Raiders. Yeah. You think he want to lose money? I don't think so.
And
I'm like, what?
Here's the thing: is, no way he's going to sabotage it. But I will say, the Patriots have sabotaged the crap out of us for so long, which is so sad. I'll be honest. Look at the history of what the Bill Belichick, not Tom Brady, but the Bill Belichick Patriots have done to us.
Oh, man.
It starts with Trent Brown. Trent Brown was the offensive tackle that we brought in. We gave up a fourth round to trade for Trent Brown. And
money, too.
And Trent Brown did nothing for us. He came in overweight. He was always hurt. But what ended up happening with Trent Brown? We ended up trading Trent Brown back to the Patriots for a fifth. So we lost out on that trade. Not only money, but a draft pick. And he ended up doing well with the Patriots. And then look at the Antonio Brown shit.
Oh, God.
Antonio Brown. Shit. Okay. So the Steelers knew Antonio Brown always wanted to get to Tom Brady. He always wanted to get to the Patriots.
Yeah.
And so the Steelers knew that the only team dumb enough to trade for Antonio Brown was the Raiders because John Gruden was vocal that he loved Antonio Brown. And so we traded for Antonio Brown. We got him in the building. He pulled off that stupid helmet situation. That the reason why I knew that was a stupid, just dumb situation with Antonio Brown was because when he got two things. One, when we released him, the day before he was supposed to lose $31 million worth of guaranteed money, there's a video of him running from his kitchen to the backyard doing backflips, excited that he just lost $31 million. And then less than 6 hours later, he's on a plane in New England.
Yep.
And on the practice field the next day with no helmet issue. Shockingly.
No. And then his feet burn. I don't know how that happened. Like I said, that was purposely sabotage. He didn't want to be here. You know, he purposely got in a fight with Mayock to get him on his bad side. Purposely. Like I said, if you look at it. He comes in the training camp. Everybody rides on buses and they cars everything to training camp in Napa Valley. Everybody does that. What he does, he come in like a grandmaster on a hot air balloon. Like he showcasing that he's the one. Like what the? Nobody does that. So he purposely got an argument with Mayock just to get him on his bad side so he could be traded or cut. If you look at that.
So you got the Trent Brown issue. You got the Antonio, and I think someone said in the chat, like the tuck rule, right? Like that already screwed us. But like the Trent Brown issue, the AB issue, Antonio Brown basically wanted to get to Tom Brady, so we were the stepping stone to that and screwed us. And then you had the Josh McDaniels thing. Josh McDaniels ends up being the head coach after Rich Bisaccia, after all the craziness that went down. John Gruden getting fired.
Riggs,
Riggs going down and going and killing somebody on a residential road, crazy. The Damon Arnett situation where he's showing guns on social media and gets cut, and then we win our last 4 out of our 5 games to make the playoffs, and we were 1 play away from beating a team that made it to the Super Bowl out of the Cincinnati Bengals. And we go, Rich Bisaccia, thanks, but no thanks.
Hey, bye.
And we move on, and we bring in Josh McDaniels from the Patriots organization. And I'm just sitting there going, look, I understand the just PTSD we have from us doing anything as it relates to the connection or tie to the Patriots organization. I get it. But at the end of the day, look, I really don't think Tom Brady is going to win. He's going to bring in this winning culture that's going to all of a sudden change and bring us a championship, because he didn't do a goddamn thing this entire offseason.
No, I don't think Brady's here to be that a Patriot way. We're gonna have the Patriot way. Yeah, we tried that, didn't work. Brady's here to invest in the team to make money. You know, if I say you put in $100 in a stock that you know is going to lose, are you going to put $100 in it? No. But say you put money in a stock that's guaranteed to win, you can put your money in that stock because your $100 can turn $200. You think Brady's going to take $100 and turn to $30? No. He's not going to sabotage Raider. But he's going to make some football decision. He's going to talk to Mark Davis and say, that's a bad decision. Don't do that. Because Mark Davis is not a football guy. He's a businessman. Great businessman right now, what he's doing. But he's going to bring his thoughts. Like I said, so Richard Seymour, all guys was like, hey, Mark, no, don't do that again. Let's do this.
That's what worries me. This is what worries me with the age of Pete Carroll. Because Pete Carroll is a guy that is going to potentially or hopefully change the culture. But if he's gone, it gets us back into this coaching carousel of we're hoping that Mark Davis makes the right decision. But Mark Davis has proven in the past he's made the wrong decision over and over and over and over again. And let's just take a look at Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was the best decision because I think that was the only decision we had. Look at all the head coaching vacancies that were out there. There were 7 other head coaching vacancies, and no one wanted Pete Carroll. Look at the Saints. The Saints waited
It was
for
on last day, damn near.
they waited for I'm blanking on his name, but the young kid out of the Eagles, being the offensive coordinator, they waited for him to become available. They waited for him because the Eagles made the Super Bowl, right? They waited and waited and waited. No one wanted Pete Carroll as a head coach.
No.
There were 7 other head coaching vacancies and nobody wanted them. And so to me, it felt like Pete Carroll was our only option. So
yeah, it was, but I think it was a better option. I know he's 74. Everybody talk about his age. He don't look like it went through, but we were talking about that. As you get older, all of a sudden today you feel good, tomorrow like, oh shit, I'm in the hospital. I understand that. But for we picked the things we had out there as a head coach and the pick, I think they probably wanted Vrabel, but like I said, right after the Patriots lost that game or won that game, whatever happened, Mayo was fired before people left the parking lot. So they knew they wanted Vrabel. He was out there, so they went and got him. He played for them. He was there. He was there with Brady. So that was it. There goes our coaching carousel. That's it. That's what we wanted. Ben Johnson was never coming here. Okay, anybody said he was never coming here.
It wasn't even a thought. He just gave Tom Brady. He gave the Raiders the interview in respect for Tom Brady.
Right.
But that was it. And so that's the hard part is once Pete Carroll's done, if there's no again, I think that it's Chip Kelly. I think Chip Kelly is maybe the plan. But if we put the head coaching decision back into and GM potentially back into Mark Davis's hands,
we're going right backwards. We're going backwards again. Because when Mark Davis signed Gruden, and I saw he signed up for 10 years for that money, so basically saying, you do everything. I have nothing to do with it. That's all he was doing. Because he wanted no part. Because, like I said, Mark Davis is not a football man. He's a businessman. So he wanted to do football calls, football things. He's like, yeah, you do everything. I'll just sit back.
And I know a lot of people, don't get me wrong. I was cautiously optimistic with Gruden when we brought him back. I loved that the mystique, the vibe that Gruden brought. Don't get me wrong. I was excited to kind of see Gruden come back. But there was question marks on how he was going to adapt to the new game. There's the question marks.
I was on the fence with it because I know he did when he was here, but he left and did that with Tampa Bay. I was like, okay, can you bring that magic back? Yeah. He was starting to build it up because it was not Bisaccia's team that went to the playoffs. It was Gruden's team that went to the playoffs against Cincinnati. So he was starting to slowly bring it back, but the team wasn't together like they should be because they had guys doing stupid things. Not only Ruggs, but a few other guys were doing stupid things too. He wasn't the only one. There's your boy, LA Raider. What's up?
What up, man? Yeah, my boy from back home, man. I appreciate you popping in with us. There was some, when it comes to Gruden, and then we're kind of going back to the day and having some fun with it. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Is that there was things that Gruden did that created so many question marks with me. Number one is on 4th and short, he was predictable. There was a time where on 4th and short, he ran a fullback dive way too many times. Like I remember looking back in the day and I want to say it was probably like the 4th time there was a 4th and short. He ran a goddamn fullback dive every single time. It was crazy. And there was one moment where he had Josh Jacobs in the backfield on 4th and short, and he motioned Josh Jacobs out of the backfield with a fullback, and he ran a fullback dive. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. you just motioned out of the backfield our number one running threat. And you still ran a fullback dive. It was crazy. But then his coach's challenges. I think he was like 1 for 13 on
Yeah, he had
coaches'
the worst.
challenges.
He had
was
the worst in the
horrible.
NFL. Yeah.
And then I want to say it was against. I take that back. I don't even know what team it was against. But we had Jason Witten. Jason Witten was on a consecutive streak for catches in a row, right? So a catch for like so many games. And there was one game, it was 3rd and 7. It was 3rd and goal from the 7-yard line. We needed to actually score a touchdown in order to get back in the game. Like it was it was a moment that we had to score a touchdown. He ran a wide receiver screen from the 7-yard line with Jason Witten just to get him a catch. And I was sitting there going, wait a second.
Was that against the Falcons?
I forget who it was.
I think it was.
Against.
I think it was something like that. A team that we should have beat and we didn't beat. And like you right there, why didn't you go for a touchdown? But you want to get that one catch. Yeah, I think it was a Falcons.
He wanted to give Witten a catch late in the game when we needed to score a touchdown to get back in the game or get within one score. It was a crucial point, and he literally ran a wide receiver screen with old ass Jason Witten, and the defense closed, tackled him for like a 1-yard gain. I'm sitting there going, "Shit, I'm done. And so that was the hard part about Gruden, is that he just he made decisions that just didn't make any sense. Again, when we hired him on, I loved just what he brought to the Raider Nation. Now, to your point, that 10-year, $10 million contract was wild.
Well, it wasn't wild because I saw Martin was doing. Basically, he just told Gruden, you run a team for the next 10 years, I can skate back. So Gruden hired his own guys. He hired Mayock and all that stuff. Was Mayock the actual GM? No, I don't think it was. I think it was John Gruden was the actual GM. He was GM, head coach, and president of football operations. He was all those roles in one because he made all the decisions. I don't think Mayock I think he made maybe 2 draft picks, but he didn't make that many draft picks. I think Gruden did everything. That's what Mark Davis wanted.
And that's the thing is we spent so many years doing the process ass backwards. I'm a massive advocate of bringing your GM, and the GM hires the head coach. And we did it ass backwards the last two attempts, right? You brought in John Gruden, and John Gruden brings Mike Mayock. Mike Mayock now answers to John Gruden. So John Gruden's going to do whatever he wants. You know, there was the reports coming out when we hired on Josh McDaniels, and Josh McDaniels brought in Dave Ziegler. Mm-hmm. Dave Ziegler has no pull.
And
there was the reports that came out that Ziegler wanted to go get C.J. Stroud.
Yep.
And what happened? McDaniels overruled it. And so there's chains of command. And you want the chain of command to flow properly.
Right.
And unfortunately, the last 2 times, it didn't happen. You know, so it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate that that's the route that we've taken over the last, what is it? The last 8 years now, 9 years?
It should have been longer than that. But you know what? Like to your point with Telesco and AP, when they had a multitude of quarterbacks out there to pick up, they picked a guy Minshew. That was Telesco's guy. They paid him that money. And AP wanted to start AOC because AOC basically helped AP get that head coaching job.
He did.
By winning some games. The guys were rallied around him because they were tired of Josh McDaniels' bullshit. Excuse my language. So, Ed O'Connell played well enough to get AP the job, plus my other guys. What AP wanted to start was Ed O'Connell. Because if you watch that press conference when they decided on who's going to be the starting quarterback, if you read the body language of AP, we're going to start guarding Minshew because he gets a fast start. He wasn't excited at all, one bit.
Yeah.
One bit. So that was that's good decision to start Minchie. But when Mitchell got hurt and El Connor come in, AP got a mic. Said, yeah, got a boy back in there. ALC started. He's kind of more uplifting. So that means tell me that he had no call. He wasn't in full control of the team. That's what seemed like to me. It was always Telesco making those calls.
It wasn't, man. I'm telling you, us as Raider fans, and salute to everybody in the chat, we have been on a roller coaster ride for so goddamn long. Because here's the thing: is last 2 years ago, sorry, I came out on my channel, and again, I will tell you when I'm right, and I'll tell you when I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was a better decision to start Minshew to start last year's 2 years ago, start the season, because I thought our defense was going to carry us to the first 3, 4, 5 games. You want a veteran quarterback that understands the moment, that can keep you in games. Which, look, he came out and beat the Ravens, which was good.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that Malcolm Kuntz was going to go
But
down.
I don't think he meant you beat the Ravens. The defense did.
Exactly. Like you're going to rely on that defense, and that's why I liked potentially going with Minshew, because you weren't going to rely on the offense to win you football games. We that 2023 season, man, we were all hyped up on the defense. We thought our defense was going to smash people in the mouth.
Yeah.
And Malcolm Kuntz goes down. That definitely took a shot to that. But then you look at what we did against the Chargers. That week 1 game against the Chargers, it was a very low scoring game. And we really should have beat the Chargers that week 1 in the 2023 season, except for the 2 long runs that the Chargers had.
Mm-hmm.
J.K. Dobbins took off for like a 45-yarder. It fell off. Minshew made a couple of mistakes,
Yeah,
but we were hoping that the defense was going to help us. And so what was so difficult in that season was it kind of goes to the fact that we just had so many injuries to start that season. Colton Miller was not the Colton Miller that could have been. JPJ wasn't starting. It was the horrible decision of starting Cody Whitehair, which goddamn guy.
And that's what I say. They didn't create an identity at the start of that season. They didn't create what we're going to be. We're going to be a running team. Well, if you keep telling people we're going to be a running team, which all coaches do, then they're going to worry about the running team because our quarterback play wasn't that good. Yeah. But they didn't create an identity, what we do best. I thought the defense kept us in a lot of games. We lost, 5 games? I think Chewy had mentioned that. We lost 5 games by 7 points or less. 5 games. But why we couldn't win? Because we couldn't score. That was that Getsy picking up. I don't know if AP wanted Getsy or not, but I could get to a benefit of doubt because he blamed everything on Justin Fields. But then Justin Fields go to the Steelers and win 4 out of 6 games. A team that's not known for the quarterback besides Roethlisberger. So it wasn't him. It must have been a bad play calling as you were calling. So that was a decision that the Raiders made that I know they regret. They eventually fired him and the rest of his staff. And we got a little better, but we still weren't good enough.
So, and I know it's not the popular take. It's not. And I know that we say that Getsy was awful. I'm not saying Getsy was good. But do you remember the game that against the Broncos?
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden Brock Bowers was just shut out. And all of us were like, damn it. Like, what? Why? Like, where's Brock Bowers? Crazy part is Luke Getsy actually did a very good job of scheming Brock Bowers open. And we broke down the game film. Gardner Minshew did not pull the trigger. The amount of times that Brock Bowers was actually open in the Broncos game that everybody was like, damn, Brock Bowers disappeared. Luke Getsy did what he was supposed to do. There was a couple screens that were supposed to go to Brock Bowers. There was a couple mid-range throws that could have been an easy throw and catch by Gardner Minshew. But holy shit, Gardner Minshew just didn't pull the trigger.
That pick six was he overthrew Bravo so badly that the guy, like what's his name? You see the punt return. He overthrew him so badly. He was open. Not saying score a touchdown, but he been damn close to getting him. Overthrew him.
And there was plenty of times where, Gardner just did not see the read. And there was times where it was a clear read to where it was actually a screen to Brock Bowers. It's a designed screen to Brock Bowers on the front side. And all Gardner Minshew has to do is look at the leverage of the defense. That's all he has to do. Look at the numbers. If you're out, if you have the numbers to the screen side, you take the screen. If you don't, then there's a drag across the field that you take the drag route. We had the clear numbers. And for some reason, Gardner Minshew looked at the screen. He should have hit Brock Bowers, and Brock Bowers could have literally ripped off a 20, 25-yarder. For some reason, Gardner Minshew pulls off the screen. He looks at it, pulls off the screen, and hits the drag route into three defenders, and a receiver gets killed. Now, could you say that is a coaching point for Luke Getsy? Like, hey, you need to coach the quarterback better. Yes, 100%. But you dialed up a good play to get the ball to Brock Bowers. So it's tough, man. Like, I'm not saying Luke Getsy was a good offensive coordinator. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But holy shit, if you just look at the game, there was opportunities to get the ball to certain players, and Gardner Minshew just didn't pull the trigger.
He didn't read fast enough because he had the plays that didn't read fast enough. Because I saw a few times they was playing that he had Devontae Adams open down the stream and didn't throw the ball. Or if he did throw the ball, he underthrew it or overthrew it, or he was way too long. And he started scrambling, and then he runs into sacks. I'm like, stop running the sacks. Get rid of the ball. A lot of these plays that gets by design were timing plays. I've seen Devontae Adams a few times, like, why didn't you throw him the ball? He was open.
And there's a lot of times where some fans got to really remember. We start out the season with a really bad offensive line.
Whitehair? The Pro Bowl?
Yeah, Cody Whitehair, goddamn it. But we started out the season with a bad Colton Miller's coming off the injury, no offensive off season, so it took him time to kind of get acclimated. Cody Whitehair started. God damn it! We'll drink more if we keep saying Cody Whitehair. Dylan Parham was horrible. He struggled.
He was light.
DJ Glaze was a rookie.
Mumford was actually starting till he got hurt, and he was at now. He's not on the team anymore.
So
he was starting till he got hurt.
For an offensive coordinator to work with that offensive line is very tough. And we continue to rotate the offensive line because of injury. Look at our Cincinnati game. Our Cincinnati game, we lost 3 offensive linemen. That one game.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to coach up an offense when you're losing that many offensive linemen. So when we started to get some continuity, when Colton Miller started to kind of get into his own, when we finally figured out that Jordan Meredith should be the starting guard, when DJ Glaze started to get his feet underneath him, JPJ started to get some games underneath him, that's when the offensive line started to gel, and everybody was like, oh, look at our offensive line's doing better. Of course it is. Yeah. Because our offensive line's doing better because they're getting the continuity. When we started the season, it was a rough road.
Yeah, it was like a Lego blocks. It was the interchangeable pieces. Like, geez, they put this guy in, put this guy there. Then, it's, they always talk about the Chris Jones effects. Why is Chris Jones pushing our lines back? Got Andre James in there. I was saying earlier that when he was taking a break, Andre James was he was calling the line pretty decently, but his problem was that he could push back off the block too quick. He wasn't an anchor center, I don't think. Well, I look at it the center supposed to anchor the offensive line, and he wasn't anchoring good enough to help these other guys out that were like your boy Corey Whitehead, y'all pro Hall of Famer. He was helping him out.
And that's the hard part, right? Is when you talk about coaching, when you constantly change coaching staffs. We went from, Greg Olson was with John Gruden. He was with Rich Bisaccia, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And then we changed to Josh McDaniels. And then we changed to Luke Getsy. When you continuously change regimes and coaching philosophies, you got to get the right lineman that fits your coaching scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And so, look, Andre James looked good in one scheme, but not good in another.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part of constantly changing coaches, is that same personnel that you have on the offense may not translate 100% to the new coaching staff.
There's no continuity. There's no togetherness, because one thing about the offensive line, that's why you said earlier that you mentioned, defensive line interchange people. They bring in another defense tackle, take over defense tackle, or defense lineman. Offensive line don't do that.
No.
They'll bring in an extra guy in, but they won't change the right guard for another right guard unless it's an injury. They have to stay together and be because if you're a right guard, if you're a right guard, you got to know what the center's doing, and you got to know what the right tackle doing, how they play, what they do on that line. I'm not a lineman. Jeff was. He explained that to me. You got to feel like, I know if I do not get this block right on time, I know I got this guy next to me that will. But if you don't have that trust in that guy next to you, it gets kind of hard. But if these guys play together for a while, because I said the offensive line probably get together jail, like I said, about 4 weeks. They got to gel. They got to play with each other, Because I know back in the old days, I remember I used to watch offensive linemen used to hold hands. I thought it was kind of weird. In the huddle, they used to hold hands for that togetherness, like we're together, we're gonna do this. They don't do it now, but they did back in the day. But you gotta stay kind of, because that's one part of the football team that's always stayed together is that old line. They're always together. You can interchange the defense, you can interchange the running backs, wide receivers, quarterback if you want to, deep, all that. You can interchange those guys. But the offensive line has to stay the same of 90% of the season if you want to win.
And you're as I've said this so much, because the offense takes a lot longer to click than the defense. And when it comes to the offensive line, I say this all the time, you're as good as your weakest link. It takes one bad block to blow up a play. We've seen it. How many times does Max Crosby beat his one man and he blows up the play? Look at that game against the Cardinals, the preseason game.
Yeah.
All 10, technically 9, not including the quarterback, but all the guys could have made their block. Every single guy in that offense could have made their block for that one running play. It just took that one guy that led Max fucking dominate his ass, and now he's making a play.
Tackle for loss. Blew him up. Yeah.
You're only as good as your weakest link. And that's why I'm a massive build in the trenches guy. I want to have the meanest offensive line in the National Football League.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to prioritize. That's why, people talk about like bringing in a top tier running back and stuff like that. It's like, no, I'd much rather spend that money on a top tier running back and bring in the best offensive line we possibly can, because you kill two birds with one stone. Not only do you open up holes in running lanes for the running back, but you protect your most prized commodity, which is your quarterback. And so, bringing a good running back doesn't all of a sudden change your offensive running game. It might a little bit, but not enough to make a massive difference. Look at Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was good with the Giants. He was good.
Well, it was. It was decent. It was good. It wasn't, 2,000-yard guy, but he was good.
But he didn't reach his top potential until he went to the Eagles and ran behind one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he reached his top potential. And
There's
so
only one person that could have did that, and that was Barry Sanders. Because Barry Sanders has the worst offensive line in the Detroit Lions, but he did on his own. That's the only couple of players, there's probably a few more, but one of the players that you can bring in the bad offensive line and he could be productive. But those are once in a lifetime running backs. We don't get those. We don't get those. And they're talking about Jimmy being the next Barry Sanders. No way. There's not going to be never a Barry Sanders in the NFL in my lifetime, at least. I don't think so. But
the closest thing to Barry Sanders back in the day might have been Chris Johnson.
Well, yeah, Chris Johnson.
Back in the day, I mean, because he was just fast, elusive. I mean, I don't even know if I can make that comparison. Like Barry Sanders was one of a kind. Yeah, sorry, I'm not even going to make a comparison. My bad. I take all that.
I don't say I can't think anybody compare to Barry Sanders because he had to do all on his own with no good quarterback play, wide receivers or whatever. But he did with a bad offensive line. That's the only person I could come into a game to a team with a bad offensive line and made something impact. But became blocked, and you got defensive guys in your backfield. You're not going anywhere.
And so, look, you always hope that a player ends up being a major piece of the puzzle, right? Mm-hmm. So let's look at Brock Bowers. I wasn't a big fan initially of us drafting Brock Bowers.
Me either.
Because we had so many holes on our roster, right? I wanted an offensive tackle. I wanted a right tackle. Talisi Fuaga was on there. That's who I wanted. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, Brock Bowers got us 4 wins last year. That's what we ended up with.
Yeah.
So you hope that these guys are pieces to the overall puzzle. And you hope Brock Bowers ends up being a piece to what we can achieve maybe this year or next year. You hope Genty is a piece. But you hope that we bring in the pieces that bring this thing all together. And that's the hope. But as Raider fans, we've never done it. It's been so long since we've done it. Mm-hmm. To where, are we going to make a bad decision and all of a sudden, we wasted Brock Bowers, better part of his career. Because he moves on and he balls out with somebody else.
Right.
That's what we've done. Look at Khalil Mack.
Yes, we do. We do it all the time. That's what I was talking about. I was talking about a person in the chat that was talking about bringing in Mekhi Phifer. Sorry. That's an actor. Mekhi Parsons. It's about trading for him and getting this up, getting his picks up, and this is last year's deal. I'm like, what we always do is we get these guys who had a great year with their team last year, bring them in, pay them all this money, give away draft capital on their last year of their contract, and what they do? They have a decent year with us, but they'll move on to another team that's going to pay them more. Right. And we have done that so many times. Or we get a guy that has a great year last year. He comes in here and does nothing. We've been so bad at that I said, yeah, I would like to have Mekhi Parsons on this team, but I think the Raiders did make an offer, but Green Bay outbid our offer. But I don't want a guy coming in for 1 year and leaving, pay him all that money. Give her draft capital, which Spike they don't want to do. I was surprised to get a 5th round pick for that quarterback. But we've been doing that for many years. I can think of a few guys we did with that guy from the Super Bowl team, that cornerback. Forget his name. It's slipped my mind right now. From Dallas Cowboys. He won the MVP in Super Bowl for Dallas. He had 2 interceptions, all that stuff. Brought him in, paid him all that money. Man, he didn't even show up for the Raider games. I think he was in the stands because he didn't show up for none of the games. Cordell Patterson from the Rams. Paid him all that money. Didn't do nothing. He did that for years. I know what the only team does that, but I'm tired of it, seeing that. If you don't get a player, keep the player. Pay him. Larry Brown. Thanks, Karen. It was Larry Brown from the Dallas Cowboys.
This very well could be like I could be that Raider fan that's that rah Raider fan. You know, I could be that guy that's like, man, no, we're going. You know, Brock Bowers, that's Genty, we're going Super Bowl. It's happening. That's cool. Don't get me wrong. Love the Raider fans that are just, you know, very positive. Do your thing. But it also could be just Raiders PTSD. You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen it. We've seen it way too recent that we trade away a Khalil Mack. You know, or you know, back in the day, you know, when it was Derek Carr, Khalil Mack, and Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I felt like Amari Cooper, if you were only going to pick 2 out of the 3, I would have moved on from Amari Cooper because he led the league in drops that season. So move on from him. But what happens? We move on from Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper. And I'm like, damn. You know, all we kept was Derek Carr. So it's – don't get me wrong. It could be just Raiders PTSD. And that's just me, but we've gone through this way too goddamn much, and it's not like we have a head coach that we now can go, damn, we're setting the tone for the next 12 to 15 years.
No, we're don't.
Such in a weird situation.
Well, 12, 15 years, I don't want to be here now. I'm 61 years old, so I don't want to be here 12, 15 years.
Yeah, you will.
I'm going to win. I'm almost in a win now mode. Like, come on, I got to do something now before I depart this earth. So, but my thing is like, I know how I feel about the Raiders. A Raider fan since '76. I've seen the good days, but I've been seeing a lot of bad days more often. I want to see something good happen. I'm not saying go win division, win the AFC West, go Super Bowl, win a championship. It would be nice. I'm not saying all that this year. I'm saying I want to see games that we're supposed to win. You know, some teams we could beat, we should beat. Some teams that we're not ready to beat, okay, we can't beat them, but don't get blown up, make it a close game where it comes down to the last team with the ball wins. Yeah. Let's play games like that again. Where damn the Raiders are eight what they are like, say for instance, like they're 6-4. But those 2 games that we were 4 with, we could have won those games except for a last minute field goal or some bull like that. Okay, close, but we couldn't get pulled off. Those things are a little bit better. I want to see games like that where, hey, we can win this game. We have ability to win this game, regardless of the outcome, regardless of the spread and the all that stuff. We can win this game. So that's what I want to see. Again, I want to be excited for Raider football. I don't want to be the laughing stock of the NFL anymore.
I remember I was tapping in you guys' show and we are kind of talking about just the expectation of Genty, right? You know, I think you can kind of look at it 2 different ways because there's the expectation of Genty at the end of next year, of this coming year. You want him to be a focal point. You want him to get a certain amount of yards, whatever it may be. But for this coming game, because I talked about the fact that it's going to be such a coaching matchup, if Genty gets like 60 yards or whatever, you know, it is what it is. Like I'm going to give, as much as I have been critical of the Genty pickup. You know, I like Travion Henderson. I wanted us to prioritize the offensive line. I wanted us to prioritize potentially a number 1 receiver in the first. But I'm going to give any rookie time. It's going to be his first action against live starting bullets, not backups like in the preseason.
All right.
You know, it's his first, like you're talking about a 22-year-old kid playing in the National Football League for his first time against live bullets coming at him. I'm going to give him some grace. But look, if he gains 60 yards and maybe 20 on the ground and we win a game, cool. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about how the game is managed. That's what I'm looking forward to. It's not necessarily about what Genty does. Now, if Genty ends the season and has a shit year, okay, different story. But it's all about how that first game is managed, in my opinion. I don't have much expectation out of Genty for the first 3 games. I'm gonna give him 3 games. But
So we did a poll last night for that Friday night show, that wild show we had Friday, and we was asking how many yards did you get? Somebody was saying like 220 carries for 150 yards. That's nice, but that's still too high. You know, he possibly could, but you got to look at what he's doing now. He's playing playing in New England. Okay, his defense that wasn't that bad last year. They were a suspect, but they weren't that bad last year. It's his first game. I know he played preseason, but it's going to be a bigger crowd on a hostile environment. You can't expect him to get that many yards. If he gets, like he said, 60, 70 yards, I say maybe 80 yards at max. I'll be happy with that. But my main thing is not the yards. It's the touchdowns. You can run the ball for 250 yards that game, but how many touchdowns you got? None. Do you guys win? No. Well, what good were you? We got 250 yards rushing. That's good for your stats, but it's not good for the team. You got that many yards, you should have at least 2 to 3 touchdowns. That's what I'm worried about. He can run for 30 yards, 805, and have 3 touchdowns. I'm happy with that more than he run for 200 yards.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's more about me seeing just kind of how he molds his game. You know, does he make the first man miss? You know, does he do a better job at attacking half a man and running through some arm tackles? Like that's what I want to watch for. I want to see, you know, is he molding his game to the NFL in a way that he's going to have long-term success?
All right.
That's really what I'm looking out for. In all honesty, you know, but the only thing I'll say is, even if the offensive line struggles a little bit, you picked him at the number 6 overall. Right. So I still want to be able to see him. Again, it goes back to kind of making the first man miss. But I want to see him be able to make just a little bit of impact, show flashes that tell us he's showing signs of the worth of a number 6 overall pick. Just show me some flashes of it, right? And if he stalls out, Chip Kelly, if he stalls out, one of the best ways to get Genty going, if he starts to stall, right? If the offensive line isn't blocking well, he gets tackled a couple of times at the line of scrimmage, he loses some yards. Some of the best ways to get the confidence of a running back going a little bit, run some screens. Get him in the open field, dump off some passes where he's one-on-one with a linebacker or a corner. Like, put him in situations that give him a chance at better success. So again, it kind of falls back on the coaching side. I want the coaching to be elite in giving him those opportunities to find success.
Yeah, because people fail to realize that the year before he had a 2,000-yard run at Boise State, he caught 600 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he can catch the ball. He was a route runner, too. So, you know, I expect him to utilize him more and just pound the ball down the guards, you know, between tackles. I know they're going to use a lot more. But the thing is that I want him to run the ball effectively enough where the defense have to, we got to put 8 in the box, which open the field for Geno Smith and receivers and the tight ends. I want them to think about well, we got to put it in the box because this guy's running over us. So that way to open the field for Geno Smith. So if he can do that, that's a win on the offense. Okay. Now it's time for me to go. I'm getting those words that people shouldn't say out loud. that damn time. Hey guys, you know what? I tell you, I overstand my welcome. Welcome with 805. It's been a pleasure talking to you on cam, man. Hey guys, make sure you watch this show tonight. I'm gonna try to. I'll probably be back here barbecuing, but I'm gonna get a chance to watch the show. Any last thoughts, right quick? I do have to close it out now because I'm getting those words.
Well, I'm with you, man. Hey, I'm telling you right now, I'm with you. Karen just said what she thought of Meredith. I was high on Meredith a long time ago. I thought Meredith coming off the practice squad could have been a damn good guard. I said it not last season, but the season before that in preseason. And so I'm just happy to see that he's getting his opportunity and rocking. Rock out with us tonight. We're breakdown game film. We're going to go live. But, you know, my channel, Real Talk Raider Nation, I started in 2023. I appreciate everybody. Make sure you guys hit up Chris. Hit that sub button. Man, really, at the end of the day, let's just get some success. Let's turn this fan base around and have a good time. And if we can get some wins underneath our belt, I think it's going to get the Raider Nation excited. And shit, man, at the end of the day, I've been raising 3 kids as Raider fans. I need to give them more motivation to be Raider fans. So let's get some wins, man.
It was a marathon. It's a mini marathon. So me and 805 decided to drink some beers together. So get out of here.
I know, Jeff. This is yours and Chris's like Raider. This is like a YouTube short to you guys.
Exactly. Anyway, guys. Hey, that's 805 Raider. Make sure you like, subscribe to him. I'm Chris4Raiders. Chris4Raider podcast. My next show will be Tuesday night. We're not going to do a Monday morning quarterback because Jeff's too tired to do one, plus a holiday anyway. So my next show will be with Jason. Hopefully, we'll see. And by the way, like I said, Jason probably has his paper right now. Before we speak, he hasn't updated me yet. But good luck to him. And we'll see you guys on Tuesday. 805. Pleasure, brother. Always a pleasure.
Appreciate you. Thank you, man. Hey, and Jason, if you're still listening, good luck, brother. Hope everything goes well.
Yeah, with that saying, y'all go Raiders.
It's the Sunday Morning Pillaging Show.